Hello, and welcome to the Essence of Reality. We have, hopefully, pretty exciting program, as they say in English. So yeah, basically, what exactly are the current events that are happening? The Alter Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad movement, said that we have to live with the times. We have to live in the modern era. But what does that mean exactly? Because we know that modernism is sometimes maybe not so encouraged, because we know the Torah is eternal. We don't need to deal with modern things. But when the Alter Rebbe says we have to live with the times, what he means is that we have to live with the Torah portion of that week, because the entire universe is being made from the Torah every second. It says in the Zohar that he looked into the Torah and created the universe. And we also know that the creation of the heavens and earth is happening actually every second of every day. When the Creator made the universe, he didn't just make it once. But we know the commentaries, he's making it all the time. Hello, first guest, Starman. Can you hear me all right?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, just making sure. Cool,
What's
cool.
up, dude?
Excellent. What's up?
So, I think what you're saying is pretty cool.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, have we met before? I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so.
Nice to meet you, nice to meet you.
But I'm more like just listening. I didn't expect you just to bring me up. I don't really have anything to say, but I'm just listening.
Yeah, it's cool. You could listen on the panel. I mainly wanted to make sure people could hear me, is why I brought you up. And also
okay,
just
cool, yeah.
to meet you also. So yeah,
All right,
because
yeah, I'll just listen then, dude.
all right, yeah, feel free to stay or ask any questions if you want.
All right.
So, yeah, we're talking about the current events, but what do current events even mean? So the founder of the Chabad movement says, yeah, we got to live with the times, you know. Now we're starting this Chabad movement, we got to be modern. But what does it mean to be modern? Because obviously Chabad is rooted in the Torah, which is eternal. But it means, according to what all of his followers, including his own children, etc., explained it to mean, that because we know from Kabbalah, and Chabad specifically, that the universe that is being created every second. When the Creator made the universe, he didn't just make it once, he's making it every second. And when he made the universe originally, it says in the Zohar that he created the universe from the Torah. So, when the Creator is making the universe every second, he's also making it from the Torah. The words of the Torah are all eternal, and the Creator is constantly speaking all the words of the Torah. And through that speech, he's also speaking the words that create the creation, like let there be light, let there be this. All those statements of let there be, etc., derived from the Torah, the Torah, like the entire Torah. It's all connected. So through the Torah, through the Creator giving us the Torah every second and speaking the Torah every second, then that creates the universe every second. So every week throughout the year, the Jewish people have a custom, going back to Moshe, that they read a little bit of the Torah called a parsha, or a portion of the Torah, every week until they finish it in about 1 year. So every week, like all the Jewish people over the world, except maybe some weeks where like the people in Israel do like a little bit off, but generally all the Jewish people are reading the same Torah portion every week. So that Torah portion that the Jewish people are reading every week says is the current events of that week, because the Creator is making the entire universe from the words of the Torah, and specifically from the words of the current Torah portion that the Jewish people are reading. So that's what it means we have to live with the times. The times refers to the Torah, which is the Torah is the ultimate state of being modern, because the Torah, what it means we have to live with the times. The times refers to the Torah, which is the Torah is the ultimate state of being modern, because the Torah, the Creator is giving us the Torah anew every second. So living with the times means to live with the current portion of the Torah that the Jewish people are learning throughout the world. And that's the current events. That's like the source of all the events that are happening in the entire world, are the verses of the Torah portion, current events. That's like the source of all the events that are happening in the entire world, are the verses of the Torah portion that the Jewish people learn during that week. And in Chabad, and even before, but in Chabad it was mainly made publicized as a custom to study So every people read on Saturday, they get together in synagogues since the times of Moshe, thousands of years they've been doing this. They gather together every week on Saturday and they read the actual scroll of the Torah all at once for that portion, with all kinds of blessings and stuff. But really, the actual scroll of the Torah all at once for that portion, with all kinds of blessings and stuff. But really, there's on Saturday there's 7 different sections of the portion. 7 different people are called up to the Torah to read from it. So the whole portion is divided into 7 parts every week. And another person on Saturday, everyone gets a different portion to read from. But it's explained that because there's 7 parts, it just happens to be that there's 7 parts of every portion. So there's also 7 days of the week. So the 7 days of the week, including the Sabbath that lead up to the Torah portion reading, including Saturday itself, it says there's a custom that was made publicized in Chabad to study that 7th of the Parsha every day of the week leading up. And that's how we could live with the times, to live with the Torah, to live with the current events of the Torah, which the Creator is making the universe from. So what exactly is the current events of the Torah? So we just started last week the 5th book of the Torah, called in Hebrew Devarim, which means things. In English, it doesn't really make any sense. It says Deuteronomy, whatever that means. But it means of the Torah, called in Hebrew Devarim, which means things. In English, it doesn't really make any sense. It says Deuteronomy, whatever that means. But it means it's the 5th book of the Torah. There's 5 books that Moshe received from the Creator, known as the Torah. And that's the Torah scroll that you see Jews have everywhere. So the first 4 books dealt with a lot of stuff. For example, the first book dealt with the creation of the universe, is what it's mainly known for. Then the flood of Noah. That's just the beginning, though. But really, Rashi says that the whole point of that entire first book was really only in order to introduce Avraham, to introduce Abraham, and for the Creator to explain to the world through that book how the Creator chose Abraham, and specifically chose him to be the one to inherit the land of Canaan, which would later be the land of Yisrael. That's what the whole book of Genesis is about, how the Creator singled out Abraham because Abraham recognized the Creator with his own understanding. And the Creator said, okay, I'm going to now give you this entire land of Canaan, which would later become the land of Yisrael. And to be clear, the Jewish people did not always live in Israel. It says, first, the Canaanites were there for around 400 years before. But really, so the Creator said, don't worry, these people are actually really bad people, and I'm just allowing them. I'm not giving them the just because they're living. Really, so the Creator said, "Don't worry, these people are actually really bad people, and I'm just allowing them. I'm not giving them the just because they're living in the land of Canaan." The Creator tells Abraham, "I'm not really allowing them to own the land. They just get to live there temporarily." But the Creator tells Abraham that I'm going to take away this land from the Canaanites because of their evilness and give it to you and your descendants forever. And that's how the Jewish people have the claim to the land of Israel. And according to Rashi, that's the entire point of the entire book of Genesis, is just in order to set up that dynamic of singling out Abraham with the Creator promising Abraham the land of Israel, and then through his sons Isaac and Jacob. It's the book of the patriarchs, which is considered like in a sense, the first book is considered like the holiest book of Israel, and then through his sons Isaac and Jacob, it's the book of the patriarchs, which is considered like in a sense, the first book is considered like the holiest book because it deals with the ancestors of the Jewish people who are like the holiest people. And then we have the book of Exodus, which talks about how the Jewish people went down to Egypt, and then they were slaves, and then the Creator brought them out of Egypt through many plagues, and then brought them to Mount Sinai, where the Creator revealed himself to them from the heavens and gave them the Torah. And by the way, we'll get back to that in a second, but it's like in the fifth book of the Torah, a few books later, Moshe is essentially giving a speech to all the Jewish people right before they go into the land of Israel, and he's like reviewing all the stuff that happened to them over the past 40 years in the desert. And this specific day, this specific Torah reading is dealing with recalling over the events of the book of Exodus, where the Creator revealed himself from the heavens, etc. And the Creator himself is usually hidden from the world when he makes the world, but the Creator revealed himself to millions of eyewitnesses at Mount Sinai with a giant fire that fell out of the sky, with the blast of a ram's horn and lightning and visible thunder, all kinds of open miracles. That's why we know the Torah, with the blast of a ram's horn and lightning and visible thunder, all kinds of open miracles. That's why we know the Torah is true, because all other religions only trace back to like 1 or 2 alleged witnesses, whatever. but there's no real basis to it. It's just like you have to trust the claims of one or a few people. But the Torah, it's impossible for it to have ever been faked because there's millions of eyewitnesses that actually saw this revelation of the Creator with millions of angels. Undeniable revelation. And those millions of people told their kids that actually saw this revelation of the Creator with millions of angels. Undeniable revelation. And those millions of people told their kids about it in an unbroken chain of tradition for thousands of years without any weak links. So this is like the moment where the Jewish people became the Jewish people, and the Creator wanted to set it up in a way so that no one would ever be able to challenge it in the future, because the Creator knew people would try to challenge it, but they can't, because this is scientifically undeniable proof of the Creator revealing himself to millions of eyewitnesses. So that's what happened. That was like the main point of the book of Exodus. Really, it talks about the Jewish slavery from Egypt and the 10 plagues taking them out and the splitting of the sea, but the whole point of that was to really bring them to the Mount Sinai, where the Creator revealed himself to them and broke the barriers between the physical and the spiritual, and gave them what's called the Torah, the laws of the Torah. They knew about general ideas of the laws of the Torah before, but in Mount Sinai, the Creator made it official. He gave them the official laws of the Torah as a unique nation, and the point of the laws of the Torah are to reveal the infinite light of the Creator, to reveal the Creator in all of existence, because without the Torah, everything is just like the Creator's hidden from the world, and there's no real connection between finite and infinite. But the Torah, the Creator wants to be in the world and be known by everyone in the world openly. So through the Torah and studying the Torah and through keeping the laws of the Torah, then the Creator is revealed in the world everywhere. So that's what happened in the book of Exodus. First, the Creator took us out of Egypt, then he brought us to Mount Sinai, and then then he gave us this Torah in order to reveal the Creator in the world through the commandments. And then the main way that happened is through building what's called a mishkan, or a tabernacle, which was like a temporary sanctuary that had the ark with the tablets that Moses got from Mount Sinai, with an altar where they would have daily animal sacrifices, and they would light a golden menorah and offer incense every day. So through those actions, then the Creator would like be revealed in the world, etc. In a similar way to how he was revealed at Mount Sinai, but in a more permanent way. So that was like the book of Exodus. Starts out with the slavery, redemption, Mount Sinai, then it mainly focused on building this temporary sanctuary, which was to channel the energy of Mount Sinai into like a finite way, like to merge the infinite with the finite. Then you have the book of Leviticus, and the entire book of Leviticus is really just only within either 1 or 8 days, which is like after the Mishkan, after this tabernacle was complete and they were ready to reveal the Creator in the world. The whole book of Leviticus is just a bunch of laws of what exactly they have to do. What kind of animal sacrifice do they offer every day? What kind of service do they do in there? That's what the whole book of Leviticus is about, just within a couple of days after it was finished. Then they have the book of Numbers, which the first half of the book of Numbers is pretty much deals with how the Jewish people started traveling away from Mount Sinai, and then they originally tried to come into the land of Israel right away, but then a bunch of stuff happened where like they got delayed for different reasons for 40 years. Basically, and then there's a bunch of stories that happened within those 40 years. But the point is, they were about to go into Israel, but then some stuff happened, they were delayed, so that entire generation had to pass away. They had to wait 40 years. And then their kids, their children, are the ones that will enter the land of Israel. So at the had to pass away. They had to wait 40 years. And then their kids, their children, are the ones. The Creator. The Jewish people were ready to enter the land of Canaan and make it into the land of Israel forever, which this was the fulfillment of the promise that the Creator made to Abraham, to Abraham, the ancestor of the Jewish people. It says, I will give you and your descendants this land of Canaan. The Canaanites were living there for 400 years. The Creator said, don't worry, they're actually really evil people, and I'm going to take it away from them forever, such that they will never have any more ownership of it. So when the Creator took it away from them, this was in the times of Moshe's student named Yehoshua, named Joshua. Because really, Moshe, after he took him out of Egypt, Moshe was supposed to bring them to the land. Moshe's student named Yehoshua, named Joshua. Because really, Moshe, after he took him out of Egypt, Moshe was supposed to bring them to the land directly. But because of this sin that Moshe did, like he hit a rock with a staff instead of talking to the rock, it's a long story. The point is, because of some side reasons, the Creator decided that Moshe himself will not go into the land. And instead, Moshe's top student, named Yehoshua, or Joshua, will lead the Jewish people into the land to conquer the land from the Canaanites, which is through miracles of the Creator, such that it would be openly obvious to everyone involved that this was not just a regular conquest of lands, like, I'm conquering this. No, this was the Creator literally taking the land away from the Canaanites forever and for all time, and eternally transferring that ownership of the land of Canaan through miraculous warfare. Totally miraculous, like the sun standing still in the sky for an entire day, an entire river flowing upwards, with water splitting, allowing them to cross the Jordan River, with water going miles into the sky. It was totally miraculous, undeniable that this is from the Creator and not just a regular war conquest. So that's what happened after the Torah of Moshe, which was in the book of the prophets, etc. And the Joshua is the first of the prophets, which talks about the actual conquest of the land. But right before that, at the end of the book of Numbers, the Creator tells the Jewish people explicitly what all of the borders of the land of Yisrael are, so that all generations who are reading the Torah would always know that the Jewish people have the land of Yisrael, and this is the proof. The Creator himself made a testimony for all humanity. These are the borders of the land that I'm giving to the Jewish people forever. And then after he told them the border of the land, and he also, there was 12 tribes, essentially, and the land would be divided up into the 12 parts for the 12 tribes. The Creator also divided up the land through a miraculous prophecy. It was like a certain kind of lottery where they would write the names of the tribes on a piece of paper, and they would write the different sections of the land in a different piece of paper, and then they would like draw a name randomly, and then the box that they had the lottery in would miraculously speak what the name was, in order so that people realized it wasn't just like a random division of the land, but this was like a total miracle of the Creator. And there was also a prophet that was actually would tell everyone exactly what name would be drawn before it was actually drawn. So before they drew the name, the prophet said, "Okay, through prophecy, I'm telling you that they're about to draw this name." Then they would draw that name. So that's already a miracle. And then just to reinforce the miracle even more, after they would draw the name, the physical box would actually speak, and it would tell them what tribe got which land. So that was how the Creator divided up the land of Israel. This was in the end of the book of Numbers, which we just had recently. So the last few parts of the Torah was all about the land of Israel, how the Creator is telling them exactly what the borders of Israel are, and the Creator himself, through these miracles, literally said exactly what tribe gets to keep what part of the land. That was all essentially last couple parshas, and then the very last, or two parshas ago, the end of Numbers, then it like kind of reviewed all the different journeys the Jewish people took in the desert. But then we have this interesting book. After the book of Numbers end, that's kind of like the end of the story of the Torah, pretty much. That's like pretty much the end of the Torah. But then, for some reason, we have this entire book of Deuteronomy, and the entire book is really a speech that Moshe gave to the Jewish people before his passing, which was all about the whole book of Deuteronomy is all about inheriting the land of Israel, all about how the Creator is fighting for the Jewish people. They have nothing to fear. There was the Canaanites were very strong nations. In fact, a few years earlier, 40 years earlier, when they were about to enter the land at first, Moshe sent out some spies to the land to see, okay, tell us what this land is like. Maybe is it easy to conquer? Is it not? The spies came back. It's like, no, dude, this land is like impossible. No one could ever conquer it. In fact, the spies said that the people of the land are even stronger than the Creator himself. That was like the main sin that the spies did. They claimed that even the Creator was not able to give them the land, because they claimed that the Canaan nations were so strong, it's too much for the Creator to give you. There's no way you could ever do it. No way anyone could ever conquer this land. The inhabitants are way too strong. That was like what happened 40 years earlier. So that this was not like a normal land. They were about to conquer this land and take it away from 7 extremely strong and fortified nations. But Moshe tells them, the Jewish people, pretty much throughout the entire book of Deuteronomy, like, don't worry about conquering the land, because the Creator himself, who's infinite, is going to give you this land. You don't have anything in the world to worry about. So last week's parsha pretty much ended off on that note. It said, don't worry. Moshe said, even though I'm not entering the land, but it says, I commanded Joshua to enter the land for you. And then Moshe ended off last week's parsha saying, don't fear, because just like the Creator saved you from all your other enemies until now, the Creator will also drive away all the kingdoms that you're going to, the land of Israel. Basically, what happened before, another key event that happened in the book of Numbers that Moshe was referencing, was the Jewish people were trying to go. Another key event that happened in the book of Numbers that Moshe was referencing was the Jewish people were trying to go into the land of Israel, but they had to pass through other lands, and the other lands wouldn't let them go. So that's why they had to like basically circle like the entire like Sinai Peninsula all the way, they started out in Egypt, which was on the way in the west of Israel, through the entire desert on the west side. They had to go across the entire desert, and they had to go through every possible border to try to get to Israel. No one would let them in. But then they finally went all the way around to the east side on what nowadays is called the Jordan area. So they were in the Jordan, and then they wanted to go, which is separated from Israel from. I mean, there's a river, the Jordan River separates Israel from the rest of it. But the plan is that they're actually going to miraculously cross the river, but that's a different story. The point is that they were on the east side of Israel, on the east side of Jordan nowadays, and that Jordan at the time was controlled by this really strong king called Sichon, and another king called Og, who was like very considered like a giant. And these two kings essentially made up what is currently the Jordan land. And really, that land was not really part of the promise that the Creator gave to Abraham. That was just kind of extra land that was in the way. But the Creator made a bunch of miracles in order for the Jewish people to go through the land to Israel. Where the Creator, like first they asked them, "Oh, can we please pass through your land to go to Israel?" And they said, "Nope, no way." And then the Creator like encouraged these the kings just to go out to try to fight Israel, which was very bad for their strategy, because encouraged these the kings just to go out to try to fight Israel, which was very bad for their strategy, because the cities that they were already in were very strongly fortified, so no one would be able to conquer it. But the Creator like inspired this king to like make a really bad decision to like take their entire army out into the desert to try to fight the Jewish people, and then they all got slaughtered by the Jews. The Jewish people were incredibly powerful, especially when the enemy was in the desert that the Jewish people were already used to. So the Creator did a bunch of miracles, and he caused the Jewish people to miraculously defeat the entire army of Sichon and Og, which were the kingdoms of the Jordan at the time. And then when that happened, the Jewish people also conquered that entire Jordan region. That also became part of kind of like an extension of the land of Israel in a certain way, where some of the tribes got to live there for a long time. People don't really know that, but the Jewish people used to own that entire Jordan area as well. So that's what already happened in the book of Numbers. And Moshe was telling us in last week's parsha that, oh yeah, I told Joshua, just like the Creator did all these miracles to give you these lands of Sichon and Og, which was the Jordan, so too He will do those tons of miracles to give you the land of Canaan and all the kingdoms that you're going to go across there. And he said, do not fear, because Hashem is fighting for you. That's where we left off in last week's parsha of Devarim. Then, now we're in this thing called Parshas V'eschanan, which means, and I beseeched, which Moshe was saying. Moshe was basically talking about how first Moshe himself, after he took him out of Egypt, he was supposed to bring them to the land. And Moshe really wanted to go to the land. But for different reasons, the Creator decided he should not go because of this sin that he did. There was not really a long story, but the Jewish people didn't have any water in the desert at a certain point. And then earlier in the times of Moshe's sister's lifetime, named Miriam, they had like a rock that miraculously sprouted an entire river of water for all the Jewish people to drink. And that was in her marriage. But then Miriam passed away, so this river stopped, and the Jewish people were just in the desert with no water. So the Creator told Moshe to go to the rock and just talk to it. Just say some words of Torah to this rock, some words of Talmud, actually. And then it says, well, if he just says like a chapter of Talmud to the rock will give water. And then, but then they lost the rock, and then it says Moshe tried to find the rock, but they lost it, and then he was talking to the wrong rock, and nothing was happening. So then Moshe took his staff and he started hitting it. But he was really, when he hit the rock, he actually missed the wrong rock, and he accidentally hit the right rock, basically. So he hit like the correct rock, and then after he hit it a couple times, then the water came. So, I mean, the sin kind of like sounds a mistake, but the real sin was like really when the Jewish people were like questioning Moshe, saying, "Oh, where's the water? Like, what's happening?" And then Moshe said, "Listen up, rebels. Just trust the Creator." So the point is that Moshe had like a moment of anger where he called the Jewish people like rebels and rebellious ones, and because of that little moment of anger, basically, with the connection to like hitting the rock, then the Creator decided that he should not go into the land of Israel, even though he was really planning to, and then instead Joshua would. But in this week's parsha, current events, starting yesterday, Moshe tells the Jewish people that Moshe himself, after Moshe heard from the Creator that he would not be able to go to Israel, it says Moshe prayed for 515 prayers that he should be able to go to Yisrael. It says that when the Creator told him that he should go, Moshe said, "Oh yeah, I asked the Creator so much. I begged him basically to allow me to go into the land." And the commentaries say, based on the words he said, that 515 prayers. I mean, it was spread out throughout a few months of time, basically, but yeah, basically the beginning of the portion says that Moshe really wanted to see, says, allow me to see this great land. And it says, he specifies all the different parts of the land, and specifically, not only did he wanted to see the land, he wanted to see the Temple Mount, the future mountain at the base of Mikdash, that the temple would build. It says, let me see this good mountain, and the Lebanon, in Hebrew, or sounds like Lebanon, but really Lebanon in Hebrew means like the whitening place, which is like the future Jewish temple, which would have like a lot of white stone, and it would whiten the sins of the Jewish people. So it's called the Lebanon, which was the future place where the temple would stand. If Moshe would have entered the land of Yisrael, then Moshe himself would have been the Messiah. And if he would have built the place where the temple would stand. If Moshe would have entered the land of Yisrael, then Moshe himself would have been the Messiah. And if he would have built the temple, even if it was built by the hands of man, which is Moshe, but the temple that Moshe would have hypothetically built would have lasted forever. So that's what Moshe wanted to do. He wanted to go into the land. He wanted to go into the good land of Yisrael, and he wanted to see this amazing land, and he wanted to see the base of Mikdash, the holy temple, basically. So that's what the beginning of the portion talks about, talking about how Moshe himself says like, oh yeah, I really wanted to see the land, but then the Creator said, no, don't even talk to me about this anymore. Basically, it's over. Like, too bad. And then that's basically what the beginning of it is. How Moshe is saying how great the land is. And he says, okay, well, I can't. And then it says when Moshe wanted to see the land, he wanted to it says in the deeper commentaries that he not only wanted to see it for himself, but he wanted to through him seeing it, through seeing the spiritual energy of the land, the holiest place in the world, then he would he would influence the entire Jewish people to, so to speak, see the Creator in everything through the power of sight that Moshe would have had in the land. It says that would have influenced the spiritual sights of all the Jewish people to allow them to perceive the Creator in everything, and specifically in the land. But it says after that Moshe says, okay, well now I couldn't see it, but anyways, at least listen to the words of the Creator. So Moshe tells the Jewish people to listen to the words, even though he says, oh yeah, okay, you can't really see the Creator directly because I couldn't see it, but at least listen. And by the way, later on at the end of the Torah, it says how Moshe actually did get to see the land from a distance, even though he didn't get to go there. And through that action of Moshe seeing the land from a distance, that he was also able to affect this spiritual sight that the Jewish people would have in the Creator in at least a certain way. But when the Messiah comes and the Moshe gets resurrected from the dead and he goes to Israel, then we're going to have the real sight. The point is, that was all the beginning of this week's parsha, which was yesterday. That was already old news. Now, in the current, and he goes to Israel, then we're going to have the real sight. The point is, that was all the beginning of this week's parsha, which was yesterday. That was already old news. Now, in the current events, it says, this is Moshe talking in the context of him saying, okay, yeah, I wanted to go to Israel. I prayed a lot of times to see the base of Mikdash, see the temple and the holy land. And then the Creator said no, basically. And then at this point, Moshe is saying, okay, I'm not going to be going with you to the land. You're going on your own with Joshua. And then at this time, Moshe essentially is telling them to keep all the commandments that Moshe, through the Creator, commanded them so far. A brief side point. The entire book of Deuteronomy is in the first person. Moshe is saying oh, I did this, I did that. Which is kind of strange, because the rest of the Torah that was written by Moshe through the Creator says, oh, Hashem said to Moshe this and that. So basically Moshe was talking about himself in the third person, because really the Torah is not the words of Moshe. The Torah is the words of the Creator, who's speaking through Moshe to the words. And the Creator is, so to speak, ththis third person, metaphorically, he's outside of everything, and he can speak. The Creator even speaks about himself in the third person. And it also speaks, because it says Hashem said to Moshe, saying, even though this is the Creator speaking, but this is such an infinite aspect of the Creator that the Creator is even able to speak about himself in the third person. So the point is, the rest of the Torah is all in the third person. But then finally, in the book of Deuteronomy, the fifth book, we switch to the first person. What's going on? It's a totally different language. So in the Talmud, it says actually that the entire book of Deuteronomy, Moshe said from his own mouth. Moshe said on his own, which is kind of sounds pretty controversial, because we know that every word of the Torah is the direct communication of the Creator himself. And the Rambam, the foundational book of Jewish law that's accepted by all Judaism, says that if one thinks that even one word of the written Torah was not given by the Creator, and if someone instead thinks that Moshe himself wrote it on his own, then that person is considered a heretic, and it's bad. But the Talmud says the entire book of Deuteronomy, Moshe said, so to speak, on his own. What does it mean on its own? It was on its, that's why it's in the first person, when Moshe says, oh, I did this, I did that. Really, it's explained that when it says Moshe said it on his own, every part of the Torah, including Book of Deuteronomy, is from the Creator directly, the direct prophecy of the Creator. But when we come to Deuteronomy, which is the fifth, and the 5 represents like that which is beyond infinity, because the first 4 books of the Torah correspond to the 4 letters of the Creator's name. The Creator has a 4-letter name called the Tetragrammaton for some reason in English. That's like the essential name of the Creator. That's always used throughout the Torah. So that's like the name that 4-letter name of the Creator like is the idea of like it represents like all the different universes the Creator created is through that name. All the energy of the universe is that name. That's the 4-letter name. And that's the medium, so to speak, through which the first 4 books of the Torah came. Like the prophecy of the first 4 books it's all from the same Creator, but the first 4 came like, so to speak, through this level of the 4-letter name, which is like it's infinite, but it's infinite in a way that's not totally finite as well. That's why it's like speaking from above, because only like it's like something that's like so removed from the world. It also permeates the world, but it's like the prophecy itself is, so to speak, just coming like from above. So it's like speaking in the third person as if it's like looking down from above. But then when we reach the 5th level of the Torah, it's like a 5th level of prophecy, which is like beyond the 4-letter names, the 4-letter name of the Creator. So it's the 5, which is not only infinite, but it's beyond infinite, such that it's able to combine infinite and finite. So the prophecy that Moshe was receiving through this 5th revelation, the 5th book of the Torah, says it was able to internalize itself within Moshe, in Moshe's own limited mind, such that even though it was prophecy coming from the Creator directly, but this prophecy was like so infinite that it was also able to like be grasped and absorbed by Moshe himself and then communicated to the people. Really, it says like all the prophecy of Moshe was like a funnel. So it's like just like channeling that which is like a greater revelation into like a more condensed form, and that's what the Torah is. So the Book of Deuteronomy, it sounds like it's not channeling that which is like a greater revelation into like a more condensed form, and that's what the Torah is. So the Book of Deuteronomy, it sounds like it's not a funnel. It sounds like it's like a sponge. Like, okay, it's taking in the greater aspect, and then it's absorbing itself in Moshe, then going out to us. But really, it's still a funnel, because really, the same Torah that we have in Deuteronomy is still the same words of the Creator. There's no dilution. If you say that, okay, maybe Deuteronomy is like a filter or like a sponge, that would imply that the prophecy is somehow lessened when it goes processed through Moshe. But no. Through Deuteronomy, the prophecy is not any lesser than the other books. It's still the same words of the Creator, but just that it's like, on the one hand, it's like being absorbed by Moshe in his own finite mind and body, etc. And Moshe is able to understand it and grasp it so much that he's able to like say, I did this, even though it's the Creator speaking through him. So it's like, because Moshe like fully understands it all. But that intermediary status of the prophecy being absorbed by Moshe does not diminish the actual quality of the prophecy at all. So on the one hand, Moshe said it on his own, because when he got this prophecy, he understood the actual quality of the prophecy at all. So on the one hand, Moshe said it on his own, because when he got this prophecy, he understood the prophecy, and it's like as if he's saying it on his own, even though the prophecy is still coming from the Creator. And that's the idea of what's called the oral Torah, or the Talmud, because really it says, when Moshe got the Torah, the written Torah scroll that the Jewish people have, there's really 2 parts of the Torah. One part of the Torah is the actual scroll that people call the Bible or whatever the Jewish people have, which is just the plain verses. But we know the Jewish people have known for thousands of years, uninterrupted tradition for thousands of years. Millions of Jews have always known that the Creator also gave Moshe an explanation of the Torah. And every single verse that the Creator would tell Moshe, the Creator would explain the verse in depth with many different possible explanations. And all those explanations are called the oral Torah, which Moshe taught the Jewish people through word of mouth, and it was not formally written down. He just taught the Jewish people. He said, okay, here's the verses that you have to copy exactly word for word, but these verses also mean X, Y, and Z. And those explanations of the verses were later written down in what's called the Talmud, which means the teaching. But it said all these teachings were given to Moshe already, Mount Sinai. So, it says the order is that first one should learn like the written word of the written verses, and then afterwards they should like go on to learn this Talmud, which is like even the more in-depth explanations that were given through word of mouth. So the Book of Deuteronomy is like the last book of the written Torah, And after that, then one starts learning the Talmud. So the Deuteronomy is essentially kind of like an intermediary between the written word and the oral law. And that's like the idea of Moshe, even though Moshe was receiving this prophecy directly from the Creator. But Moshe was still talking in the first person, saying like, oh, I did this, I did that. Because the whole point of the oral law is to elevate the people's intellect to become one with the Creator himself. The point of the first part of the Torah is like just to have this revelations from the Creator's commandments directly from like above to below, receive the Creator's to receive the energy of the Creator from above. In a way that is like, I mean, that also unites with the person, but the unity that's caused through the first part of the Torah, the written Torah, is like the Creator is, so to speak, uniting with us from like above to below. But then the main point of the Talmud is that the people, humans, through understanding the explanations of the Torah that the Creator gave, then it's like the one's own understanding can become similar to the understanding of the Creator. It's like the actual people's intellect can become united with the Creator from below to above. Deuteronomy is still above to below because it's still part of the written Torah, and it's still an open revelation. But it's like kind of an intermediary between the two, because it's in a way where this prophecy of the Creator that's above is like united with Moshe's own mind. And that's like a preparation for the Jewish people to also learn the Talmud afterwards. And through the Talmud, it's like, so to speak, one can become one with the Creator, such that it's like everything that someone says, all the words that someone says, it's like as if the Creator is speaking through them, basically. Anyway, so now today's portion in the parsha is called V'eschanam, which means I beseech Hashem at that time, asking him to go to the land. After Moshe was telling, so the whole book of Deuteronomy is like Moshe just telling us things that already happened earlier, with some new commandments and like a new instructions of reinforcing the rest of the Torah, telling us to keep the Torah, even though Moshe's not going to go with them to the land. So Moshe starts out by saying, he says, "See, I have taught you statutes and judgments." Just as the Awtsmoos, basically whenever I asked the AI that whenever it says the four-letter name of the Creator, to translate it as Awtsmoos, because Awtsmoos means essence, and the four-letter name is the essential name. So just like for reference, just as Awtsmoos, my Elohim. Elohim is another name of the Creator, which means judge technically. It's always used, but in English, it doesn't really translate the names in English, which is kind of weird because kind of missed the entire point of what it's saying. If it doesn't translate the names all have specific meanings. The name Elohim, the name Havaya, the tetragrammaton translated as Awtsmoos here, which means the essence. That refers to like the infinity aspect of the Creator. And the name Elohim is generally speaking how the Creator relates to the finite world. So those two names combined have very specific meanings, but in the English verses, it never really translates that. The point is that Moshe is saying, I've taught you these statutes and judgments, different laws, just as the Awtsmoos my Elohim commanded me, that you shall do in the land which you go to possess. There's many laws that the Creator's commanded Moshe, created the Jewish people through Moshe, that are only relevant in the land of Yisrael. That's one of the reasons why Moshe wanted to go to the land of Yisrael, because there's a lot more laws. So Moshe is saying, you're about to go to the land, and you're about to be able to keep these laws of the land that the Creator gave to him. Because there's a lot more laws. So Moshe is saying, you're about to go to the land, and you're about to be able to keep these laws of the land that the Creator gave to him. And he says, keep and do them. This is your wisdom and your understanding in the eyes of all the nations. Because the other nations will hear about the Jewish people learning about these advanced laws that Moshe gave them. He says, wow, these Jewish people are so smart. They have all kinds of advanced wisdom, understanding laws. Surely this nation is a wise and understanding people. Because the people are so smart. They have all kinds of advanced wisdom, understanding laws. Surely this nation is a wise and understanding people. Because the laws of the Torah are the ultimate state of wisdom. No other subject in history could ever even remotely compare to the complexity and the intelligence of the Torah. Because the Torah is a direct intelligence of the Creator. So through the Jewish people learning the explanations of the Torah, specifically in the Talmud and the explanations, then the Jewish people could like grasp the mind of the Creator. So that's what Moshe is saying, like, when you guys learn this Torah, even the other nations will respect you, because they'll realize how great is this, how wise and smart is this subject. What great nation is there that has Elohim, the Creator, so near to them, as Awtsmoos our Elohim is in all things that we call upon him for. The Creator is basically with the Jewish people in everything. And the Creator himself, now that Moshe is going to talk about how the Creator himself came down to Mount Sinai and revealed himself in the world to all millions of people with a giant fire and stuff, says, and what great nation is there that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I said before you this day. It says in the verse that the statutes and judgments are righteous, but Rashi says, because righteousness is only like adjective that describes the actions of people who have free choice, but the laws of the Torah don't have free choice. But it means righteous means like the laws are like perfect laws. The laws are just laws. Not that it's like righteous in the same sense that a person don't have free choice, but it means righteous means like the laws are like perfect laws. The laws are just laws. Not that it's like righteous in the same sense that a person is righteous, but the laws themselves are the ultimate state of like justice, the ultimate state of truth and justice, basically. And when people keep that, then those people are righteous. So it says, so after Moshe saying this, okay, so this is what you guys are, but you guys still have to listen, take heed to yourself, and keep your soul. The word it's a literal translation. Keep your soul means guard your soul, meaning guard yourself to keep all these laws, lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen. What things is he talking about? This is talking about when the Creator himself revealed himself to all the millions of Jewish people, millions of eyewitnesses with millions of angels, a giant fire from the heavens. And these people that Moshe was talking to, which was the generation after, so basically the first generation that came out of Egypt that were between the ages of 20 and 60, they all had to pass away before the Jewish people were allowed to go into the land. That's why they had to wait for 40 years for the people who were 20 to turn 60 and then pass away. But then it says Moshe ended off in yesterday's reading when Moshe is talking to the children of the generation that were taken out of Egypt. And Moshe says to all the children who are now like adults, basically, he says, and you, all of you now who cleave to the Creator, are alive today. So that's also a general idea that anyone who cleaves to the Creator is connected with the true source of life. But Moshe was talking to like all the children of the people who went out of Egypt, saying, okay, your ancestors, like, they kind of like messed up with like questioning the Creator, but the land is like too hard to conquer, whatever, and they had to pass away before they go in. But you, all you who are standing here today, who cleave to the Creator, are all alive today. Like too hard to conquer, whatever, and they had to pass away before they go in. But you, all you who are standing here today, who cleave to the Creator, are all alive today. So this is what Moshe is telling these children, saying, okay, you guys have the best laws in the world, the ultimate state of justice, the ultimate wisdom, the ultimate most advanced subject that could ever possibly exist. But you guys have to actually listen to it. You got to keep it. Don't forget how the Creator revealed himself to you at Mount Sinai. Lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen. Don't forget the things. And lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. Rather, you should teach them to your sons and your sons' sons, your children and your children's children. These people experienced not only miracles, but they also experienced the Creator himself. Even the children that were there today, they experienced the Creator speaking directly to them with the giant fire and everything. They have to remember that forever and tell their kids. What is he talking about? Moshe is saying, you got to remember the day that you stood before the Awtsmoos, the Elohim, in Horeb. Horeb is another name for Mount Sinai in the Sinai desert. When the Awtsmoos said to me, gather the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. This is talking about when the Jewish people came out of Egypt 51 days later. The Creator, who's usually hidden from the world, came down into this world, and he revealed himself to everyone openly, and everyone could realize how the Creator is everywhere, in everything. And the Creator spoke to them in the Ten Commandments. So the Creator is saying, like, this is Moshe is recalling what the Creator told him earlier when this day happened in the book of Exodus. And Moshe is like telling him, oh, what happened then? You came near and stood under the mountain. Basically, the Creator lifted up the entire mountain and held it over them for different reasons. So that was also another miracle. And the mountain burned with fire to the midst of the heaven. There was a really big fire so that was also another miracle. And the mountain burned with fire to the midst of the heaven. There was a really big fire that came down from the sky, and it was actually hovering above the mountain. It wasn't even on the mountain itself. It was hovering above the mountain. It was totally miraculous fire. And this fire was so big, it was going way up above the mountain. It wasn't even on the mountain itself. It was hovering above the mountain. It was totally miraculous fire. And this fire was so big, it was going way up into the sky. Huge amounts of, probably miles, maybe. It was way up into the sky. Huge fire that came from the sky, and it was still going towards the sky because it was huge. This was the fire that the Creator revealed himself in. And the mountain burned with fire to the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. The translations don't really make sense. What's the difference between darkness and thick darkness? In Hebrew, there's different words. There was three layers of clouds. First, there was fire, first of all, and around the fire, there was different kinds of clouds corresponding to the there's three different types of clouds corresponding to the three different spiritual worlds. That's why spirituality, maybe that's why spirituality is generally associated with like a cloud, because all the actual spiritual worlds that exist in a different plane of reality, the Creator brought into the physical world through these clouds that were on the mountain. All the spiritual and physical were like together on the same mountain, and the Creator who's beyond spiritual as well. And then after the Creator gathered this giant miraculous fire and these three layers of clouds with all the spiritual worlds in them, then the Awtsmoos spoke to you out of the fire. The Creator himself spoke to millions of eyewitnesses from this giant fire that was totally miraculous. And then the Creator spoke the Ten Commandments. He said, "I'm the Lord who took you out of the land of Egypt." And you heard the voice, but you did not see any form. This word similitude sometimes. And you heard the voice, but you did not see any form. This word similitude is sometimes translated as whatever that means. It means in Hebrew a form, image. This is a main fundamental part of the Torah, that the Creator does not have any kind of body or image whatsoever in the slightest. So when the Creator revealed himself to them, it means that they could experience the presence of the Creator. They could like feel the Creator, they could hear the Creator, but they could not see the Creator, because the Creator essentially has no form at all. So this is pretty. They saw angels. They did see angels. The angels do have form. So there were a lot of angels there, but the Creator himself did not have any form at all. So you did not. When you heard the voice of the Creator, you did not see any image. You only heard the voice of the Creator, because the Creator himself does not have any image. It says, and he declared to you his covenant, which was the Ten Commandments, which there's really a lot more than 10 commandments, but the 10 commandments that he said, like, represent the entire Torah. It's like they represent the entire covenant, which he commanded you to perform, the 10 commandments. And he wrote them upon 2 tablets of stone that Moshe later, after that, Moshe was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, where he got these miraculous sapphire tablets that it says in the commentaries were hewn from the throne of the Creator. I mean, not like a physical throne, but like the tablets that had the 10 commandments written on them, commentaries were hewn from the throne of the Creator. I mean, not like a physical throne, but like the tablets that had the 10 commandments written on them were miraculous sapphire that came from the heavens directly, basically. So Moshe is like telling them, look how amazing the Creator is. The Creator came to you. The Creator revealed himself to all you. He gave you this covenant himself. He spoke to you from the heavens. And the Awtsmoos commanded me at that time. This is Moshe saying, oh yeah, well, what happened? What exactly did the Creator tell me then? He said, the Creator commanded me to teach you statutes and judgments. These terms, statutes and judgments, refers to different types of laws of the Torah, that you might do them in the land where you go over to possess it. The Creator was already planning. Obviously, I mean, for a long time, the Creator was obviously planning to bring them to the land. But in the book of Exodus specifically, for a long time, the Creator was obviously planning to bring them to the land. But in the book of Exodus specifically, the Creator made specific plans to Moshe through the commandments, saying, okay, when you guys come to the land, you're going to keep all these laws. So Moshe is telling them as they're about to, basically, if it wasn't clear before, I don't think I said it actually. So at this point in the Torah, the Jewish people are basically standing in what now is known as the Jordan land. They're right on the east side of the Jordan River, and they already conquered the entire Jordan region from these other kings in the book of Numbers. So the Jewish people already owned the entire Jordan, and now they're about to go into what was then the land of Canaan, which was on the other side of the Jordan River. So there's this giant river separating them from the land of Israel. And then later in the times of Joshua, it says how they took the Ark of the Covenant and they put it on the bank of the river. And because of the spiritual energy of the ark, which had the tablets in it, then the river, miraculously, the water stood up in the sky, and a dry path was made for them in the entire Jordan River. And then millions of people were able to safely cross the Jordan River into the land of Canaan. That's what happened later. But right now, Moshe is speaking to the Jewish people right on the eastern side of the Jordan River, around that area. And he's telling them, you're all about to go into the land of Israel. At that time, it was the land of Canaan, but the Creator was about to take it away from the Canaanites forever and give it to the Jewish people forever. And Moshe is telling them, okay, you're about to go into the land of Canaan, so here's everything that happened until now. Here's all the laws that you guys have. You guys got to listen to the laws when you come to the land. The Creator will fight for you, but all you got to do, just keep the laws. That's it. So it says, so this is what Moshe was telling them. Yeah, the Creator revealed himself to you. This never happened before in history or afterward, and it will never happen again in history ever again. The Creator came to the whole nation with fire and lightning, and told the people exactly with this covenant. So after Moshe told them all this great stuff the Creator did for them, this is, take therefore good heed to yourselves, for you saw no image, similitude, whatever that means. You saw no image on the day that the Awtsmoos spoke to you in Chorev out of the midst of the fire. Chorev is another word for Mount Sinai. So Moshe's saying like, first Moshe's telling them, okay, got to keep the laws first of all. And now Moshe's kind of like going on, okay, one of those main laws is to not worship idols, which also means to not think that the Creator has any image. Because Moshe says, remember, like you guys, he's telling the children that actually left Egypt that were there, says, you guys, you actually saw this whole revelation, and you guys know, there's no image. You didn't see any image of the Creator. So it says, lest you corrupt yourselves and make a graven image, a likeness, some kind of statue or something of a male or a female. Maybe you think, oh, maybe the Creator is like some kind of man or woman that maybe I'll make a statue of. No, you guys know the Creator has no image at all. So don't even think about making an image. This is like the main primary commandment, not to make images of the Creator, not to worship idols. Don't make any kind of likeness of a beast on the earth or a winged fowl that flies in the air. You might think, oh, maybe the Creator looks like some kind of like a ox or maybe an eagle or something. Like, no, the Creator doesn't look like anything. He doesn't look like a person. He doesn't look like an animal. He doesn't look like anything at all. And it says maybe you might think the Creator looks like something that creeps on the ground, like some kind of bug or something. No, he doesn't look like that at all either. Oh, or maybe the Creator looks like a giant fish or something. It's like, nope, don't even think that. Don't think that the Creator looks like anything in the entire world or anything at all. It says, oh, maybe you think that the Creator is like like the sun and the moon. It's like, no. Oh, maybe you're going to lift up your eyes to the heaven and you see the sun and the moon and the stars and all the different things in the heavens, and you might think that that's maybe some of that is the Creator. But no, don't do that, because the Creator only made those to shine onto the world, to shine to the nations, but they don't have any divinity at all. And when it says here that the Awtsmoos Yolim has divided them, all the nations, under the hell heaven, what that means, one meaning is that, okay, the Creator made the sun and the stars not for any divine purpose at all, just in order to shine on the world, but they don't have any meaning. But Rashi also says that he made the sun and the stars also to allow free choice, just in order to shine on the world, but they don't have any meaning. But Rashi also says that he made the sun and the stars also to allow free choice, to allow the other nations to mistakenly worship them if they really want to, or if other people are really bad, he made the stars and the sun in order for people to falsely worship them, in order to give them a reason to be punished if they're actually bad before. But point is the stars have no divinity, and nothing in the world has any divinity. Only the Creator. It says in the commentaries, why did Moshe even say? Why would anyone even think that the Creator looks like an animal or a bird or a fish? Because at Mount Sinai they also saw a lot of angels, and those angels do look like animals and birds, and there's also a concept of a giant. There's also a giant fish that was created during the 6 days of creation, which it says it's huge, about a mile long, that's in the ocean. And it says there's only one of them, and when the Messiah comes, we're going to eat it. So it's kind of like a giant supernatural fish. So when Moshe says, oh, don't think that there's any kind of a likeness of a fish in the ocean, he was also referring to that giant fish that people might think has some kind of divine power. But no, even those angels, etc., that have the images of animals, they are not the Creator. Only the Creator is the Creator, and all the angels have no power of their own, and all the other images of anything in the earth are just creations, basically. So the point is that the Creator has no image at all. And the Awtsmoos took you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, really in Hebrew, the iron crucible, kind of same thing, which was out of Mitzrayim, which is Egypt. The Creator brought you out of Egypt to be a people of inheritance, to be his chosen people, basically. Rashi says that Egypt was like a crucible where you make gold. In order to make gold, so you have to heat it up in a furnace. So the process of heating up could be seems like it's painful. Oh, it's heating up, so it's a bad thing. But the purpose of a crucible, even though the process of heating up could be seems like it's painful. Oh, it's heating up, so it's a bad thing. But the purpose of a crucible, even though it's has a lot of bad stuff going on seemingly, but it's to make gold. So the Jewish people also, they were brought into Egypt, which seemed like it was a bad thing at the time because there has heavy slavery. But the Creator tells us through this verse and other things in general that Egypt was nothing more than a crucible to make gold. The Jewish people, through the Jewish people's slavery in Egypt, they were elevated and refined to a higher level, where they were more susceptible to divine energy. They were turned into, so to speak, metaphorical gold through Egypt. So the Creator put us through this process of Egypt. He brought us out of Egypt. And furthermore, the Awtsmoos, it says Moshe says the Awtsmoos was angry at me for your sakes, which is talking about when Moshe was hitting this rock. The Creator told Moshe to speak to a rock to give water, and Moshe hit it. But then before Moshe, like at the time Moshe was hitting it, the people were kind of questioning Moshe, saying like, "Oh, like where are we going to get water from? Like this rock is not giving the water." Then Moshe said, "Just be quiet, a bunch of rebellious guys." And Moshe had like a moment of anger where he like kind of cursed out the entire Jewish people. And because of that little moment of anger, the Creator said, "Okay, because you showed public anger towards the Jewish people, then that's why I'm not going to." And because of that little moment of anger, the Creator said, "Okay, because you showed public anger towards the Jewish people, then that's why I'm not going to let you go to the land." Meaning, if someone speaks like bad things just privately, that's one thing. But the reason why Moshe was punished so severely because Moshe like had this moment of anger where he called the entire Jewish people rebellious ones, and because of that, because it was a public moment, then the Creator wanted to honor the Jewish peoples. And so Moshe says the Creator was angry with me for your sake, because the whole reason why Moshe was not able to go to the land is really just in order to like respect the honor of the Jewish people, because once Moshe like cursed them out in this public event, then the Creator said, "Okay, no, because of that, because you messed with the honor of the Jewish people, then therefore you won't go." So it says at that time, so basically Moshe is saying, okay, later on, basically Moshe is telling Jewish people, look how special you are. Not only did the Creator reveal himself to you and give you all these laws and take you out of Egypt, but even me myself, Moshe is saying, like, even I who took you out of Egypt, the Creator respects you more than me. The Creator respects the Jewish people's honor more than Moshe himself. He says, he swore that I should not go over to the Jordan River, the Yarden. This is Moshe telling the Jewish people, saying, because for the Jewish people's own honor. So this is all, so Moshe is telling Jewish the Jordan River, the Yarden. This is Moshe telling the Jewish people, saying, because for the Jewish people's own honor. So this is all. So Moshe is telling Jewish people, look how special you are. The Creator cares about you so much, and then I should not go into that good land which the Awtsmoos Elohim gives you as an inheritance. That's the whole reason why Moshe did not go to the land, because he like publicly disgraced the Jewish people. So Moshe is saying, look at this. The Creator gives you all these laws. The Creator revealed Himself to the heavens to talk to you. He took you out of this crucible of Egypt. And he was even angry with me myself. He says Moshe is like the most righteous person in the world, but the Creator cares about the honor of the Jewish people even more than Moshe himself. That's why Moshe was not allowed to go to the land. This is Moshe telling them. But Moshe was telling them that he has to pass away in the desert, and he must not go over the Jordan River with them. But if Moshe will go over, and you, which is the children of those who left Egypt, you will possess that good land, the land of Canaan, which will become soon after this the land of Yisrael forever. So now, we say this is how we say like this inheritance is forever, even if the Jewish people would sin later. What's up, Globerg? Thanks for watching so far. How are you? It's still loading. See if it loads. Hi. Hello. Testing. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes,
Hi.
I didn't mean to push that
Hi.
button
Thanks for
down.
watching.
I didn't mean
Yes.
to get on
Hello. How are you?
Hi, this is Gloria.
What's up?
I didn't mean to come on. I
Oh,
was
it's all good. It's all good. All right, you can stay if you want. Hang out
yeah.
if you have any
I'll
questions.
oh no, I'll just turn out. I'll stay here. Thank you.
All right. Hello, Uzi. Tapuzi. Interesting name. Welcome.
Shalom Aleichem. How are you, Awtsmoos?
Just surfing through. Nice name. Good. Hashem. What's up? What's
Question
up?
for you. Shalom Aleichem. How are you, Awtsmoos?
Just surfing through. Nice name. Good. Hashem. What's up? What's
Question
up?
for you.
Yeah.
Covenant of Awtsmoos. What does that signify?
A lot of different things. I mean, generally, Awtsmoos is like a Kabbalistic term referring to the Creator, which I used in AI when I was translating the verses. Instead of saying like Lord, whatever, I just use Awtsmoos because it says the name is like the name of the Creator is associated with like just the essence of the Creator, which is Awtsmoos. So the covenant of the Creator to the Jewish people, which is to give them the laws of the Torah. Really, all nations also have like 7 universal laws of morality, part of the Torah. But the Creator like gave the Jewish people like a lot of laws of the Torah, 613 laws, and the primary fulfillment of those laws is in the land of Yisrael. Even though a lot of them are relevant everywhere, but like the ultimate state of this covenant is when the Jewish people would enter the land of Yisrael, because there's a lot of laws, including the Jewish temple, where the Creator is manifested in, and that are connected with that and the laws of the land. That's the basic idea. The land, the covenant of the land of Israel, the covenant of the Torah, that are connected with that and the laws of the land. That's the basic idea. The land, the covenant of the land of Israel, the covenant of the Torah, etc. That answers it.
Yeah, thanks for the definition. I was never aware of that Kabbalistic term, Awtsmoos. That's all.
Yeah, Awtsmoos, trying to publicize it. But yeah, it's been around for a long time. People, it means essence. It means literally, it translates to bones. So if you look up the Hebrew word Awtsmoos, you'll see like pictures of like bones, skeletons. But it's but in the Kabbalah, it means like metaphorically, it's like the essence of something, like the core of reality. Because like the bones, are like the foundation of who a person is. So like the Awtsmoos, like the creator, is the foundation of all existence. So the Kabbalah oftentimes refers to the creator as the essence, like all-encompassing, found in everything, basically.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, I'll continue standing by if you don't mind.
Yeah. Any questions? I mean, we're just reading through the book of Deuteronomy in the current part. The Jewish people read a little bit of the Torah every week, and every day of that week, leading up to the Saturday, there's like a different part of that. There's a few verses every day that the Jewish people study. So I'm just going through.
I do have my weekly portion, but it's better when I learn with someone else. So yeah, if you don't mind me hanging out here with you, I'd love to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let me know if any questions. So telling them as they're about to go to the land of Israel, telling the children of those who originally came out of Egypt, who were children at the time, now they're adults essentially, and they're about to go to the land. And Moshe's saying, okay, you have all these cool laws, especially the laws of not worshiping idols and all the other laws of the Torah. But he's telling Jews, you guys got to actually listen to it. Take heed to yourselves. And don't forget, lest you forget the covenant of the Awtsmoos, your Elohim, which he made with you, which is the laws of the Torah, to keep the Torah uniquely, not to worship idols. And do not make a graven image or the likeness of anything which the Awtsmoos has forbidden you to make. So you're saying to worship idols. And do not make a graven image or the likeness of anything which the Awtsmoos has forbidden you to make. So you're saying you saw the Creator, you saw this revelation of the Creator come down to you from Mount Sinai, but the Creator has no image, so don't make any statues or anything. And then it says, Awtsmoos your Elohim is a consuming fire. The Creator has no image, so don't make any statues or anything. And then it says, Awtsmoos your Elohim is a consuming fire. The verse says jealous, but Rashi says that that he's like a jealous God, but really doesn't even make any sense because the Creator doesn't have any like jealousness. But the word kana in Hebrew, which is often translated as jealous, really Rashi says is like kind of like a vengeful, like kanai is like someone who takes vengeance on someone else, not out of like an emotion of jealousy or anything, but it's like because it's the right and just thing to do, like someone who's like exacting retribution, so to speak, for something. So vengeful, I guess, would be like a more accurate translation. So Rashi says that it does not say anywhere that the Creator is jealous. The same word that sometimes can mean jealous in this case means that the Creator exacts retribution for people who go against him, not out of jealousy, because the Creator is obviously not jealous. But so this is what this verse. I have to find the other.
Yeah,
thing
I always found that to be a confusing definition when to a jealous God. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a God that will be all powerful. He wouldn't need to be jealous.
Yeah. So in this week, every parsha has 7 parts, which correspond to 7 days a week. So in Monday, in the second reading, so in this week, every parsha has 7 parts, which correspond to 7 days a week. So in Monday, in the second reading, which is in that verse, which is translated oftentimes as this, jealous God. So Rashi in this week's portion says explicitly, when it's the word kana, which usually is translated jealousy, Rashi says, nope, it does not mean jealousy. It means, it brings an example of what it means, but it means like someone who exacts retribution. Like Pinchas, for example, in their story in the book of Numbers, when it says a bunch of guys were like marrying these non-Jewish Midianite women, and it says the law is that if there's a Jew that is being with a non-Jewish woman, it says if there's witnesses, there's actually a mitzvah for, it says like vengeful people or people who are like excited about like keeping the laws of the Creator, to actually kill that person at that moment. So that's what Pinchas did in the book of Numbers, where he says he was considered a kanai, which sometimes which the same root could mean jealousy, but in this case, in the context of Pinchas, it means he was like it's hard to translate exactly. It means like someone who was like doing the right thing, like doing like exacting punishment in a just way, if that definition makes sense. So Pinchas was called a
Let's
Kanai.
go back on that story on Pinchas. So he encountered another Jew who was having inappropriate relations with a Goyish woman, and he decided to take that Jew's life. Is that what happened?
Well, no. So a lot of things happen in the book of Numbers. Basically, there's a whole story leading up to it. How this guy named Bilam, who was a non-Jewish prophet, was originally hired by Midian to curse the Jewish people, because the Jewish people just fought this king, these kings nearby in the land of the Jordan area. They fought this king, these kings nearby in the land of the Jordan area. They used to belong to other kings, Sichon and Og, and the Jewish people just conquered those lands miraculously from the Creator, like total victory, even though the other nations were really strong. And then this other surrounding nation named Midian, they were afraid that the Jewish people would conquer them next, even though the Jewish people had no plans to do that, and they were actually commanded not to. The Israelites didn't really know, and they were like nearby, so they thought, oh wow, the Jewish people just defeated like the most powerful nations that we know, so who knows what we're going to do. So they hired this non-Jewish prophet named Bilam, and he was known, so they knew that they could defeat the Jewish people physically, but said, oh, maybe if we have our own prophet, he could like use his power of speech to like curse them and use some kind of supernatural warfare. And then there's a whole story how like this guy named Bilam was trying to curse them, and if he would have cursed them, he would have got like paid like a lot of money. So he was doing it for his own reasons as well. But he wanted to curse them, but the Creator like forced him to instead say curses. The Creator like literally forced him to say blessings, and those blessings and prophecies that he said are like some of the most powerful blessings that we have in the Torah. And he also said the prophecies about the Messiah, etc. But the point is that after that, he was kind of upset. He was literally trying to say curses, but the Creator forced him to say blessings. But then after that, he said, okay, well. But the point is that after that, he was kind of upset. He was literally trying to say curses, but the Creator forced him to say blessings. But then after that, he said, okay, well, how else can you defeat the Jewish people? You have to use some kind of spiritual warfare. You can't use physical warfare. So then he said, okay, actually, the Creator actually hates like these kind of bad relations. Like the Creator hates like bad. Actually hates like these kind of bad relations. Like the Creator hates like bad immoral relations. So he basically told the king and the Midianites at the time, just take all your women basically and just like try to get them to entice all the Jewish men, and then that will make the Creator angry at them, which is kind of what happened. So like they brought like their own daughters, even like the princesses, like the daughters of even like the most noble people. They were a very deprived country, so they brought them all into the warfare, into the battleground to be with them. And then they had idols on their necks. They said, okay, if you want to be with me, you have to bow down to this idol. So a lot of the Jewish people were like bowing down to idols and like doing all this really bad stuff. So it says there's one Jew named Zimri who was like one of the heads of the entire tribe, and he was like being with this non-Jewish woman. And the law is that Moshe himself told the law that if that happens in front of witnesses, it's a mitzvah. If someone wants to, it's kind of like optional. But if they want to, then they could actually kill that person without any punishments. But if someone goes to the court to ask them, oh, are we allowed to do this? The court's not supposed to tell them. So basically what happened was like Pinchas saw this happening, and he went to Moshe in the times of the court and said like, oh, what do we do? And then it says like, oh, we can't really tell you what to do, but like, you know, if you're saying this, like, oh, you're reminding us of the law. Like it says Moshe like forgot what the law was. A lot of people forgot this law, but Pinchas remembered the law. He says, oh, what about this law? You have to like kill him on the spot. And Moshe says, oh, I'm not really going to do it, but you know, since you mentioned it, you know, I mean, I'm not saying to do it, but you could do it if you want, you know. So Moshe basically,
yeah, it's sort of like a unspoken understanding, which reminds me, like, you know, there's a lot of Jewish figures in our history. Like I'm thinking like King Saul, who had their own sort of list of concubines, and how would that work? You know, through their eyes, I guess, or through the eyes of the people that, and how would that work? You know, through their eyes, I guess, or through the eyes of the people that he was serving.
Well, a concubine has different laws. There's like there's certain like marriage contracts that goes through it. It's like they have to like convert to Judaism in a certain way. There's different laws when it comes to like kings and converts and stuff. But this time, the people did not convert. In fact, that was actually one of the claims, because the Midianite, they were with his Midianite women, but Moshe himself, Moses, 40 years earlier, or actually probably a little more than 40 years earlier, before the Exodus, he married a Midianite woman. His wife was from the same country that they were fighting now. So this guy named Zimri, who was like before Pinchas killed him, they were like also trying to like try them. It says, and Zimri said like, told Moshe like, why are you guys blaming us for marrying these Midianite women? You yourself, Moshe, you married someone from the same nation. So what's the big deal? And Moshe actually never responded to that. But the commentators say that if Moshe would have responded, he would have said, because Moshe's wife actually converted to Judaism truly. But the other people that they were with, they were not converting. So that was the difference. But it says interestingly in the commentaries from the Rebbe, based on Rashi, that the reason why Moshe did not respond, even though he could, is because of this idea that's mentioned later in the book of Proverbs, which says, do not answer a fool according to his foolishness, lest you also become equal to him. It says, when someone like makes all kinds of like accusations and arguments just for the sake of arguments without like really any real answers, even if someone has a legitimate response, they should not respond to that. Because once you start like getting down sake of arguments without like really any real answers, even if someone has a legitimate response, they should not respond to that. Because once you start like getting down, stooping down to the level of this person asking it, then it's like you might become equal to this fool, basically. So the best thing to do if someone is making these like ridiculous accusations or arguments is just to ignore it, even if you have a real answer. So that's why Moshe ignored him. But the answer is that Moshe's wife converted, but these other people did not, and that's why it was bad.
That's an interesting insight. Mainly due to, I recall my many conversations on these TikTok lives, polys or jihadis on this app.
It's very relevant, relevant for TikTok.
I can't from my own body, from my own blood flowing through my veins, I cannot just ignore that propaganda. Leave it unsaid, leave it unprovoked. I
mean, you could, if you have like a formal response, you could like maybe respond separately to the ideas, but to actually like argue with the person on the spot, like I know I also did it in the past too, but I try to think of that. So do not answer a fool according to his foolishness, lest you also become equal to him. And then the Rashi himself says on that verse, according to his foolishness means like words of arguments, like an argumentation. There's different kinds of arguments. There's an argument for the sake of heaven, like the argument between Hillel and Shammai. It's like a respectful argument. They're arguing in order to gain knowledge. But like an argument that's not for the sake of heaven, it says it's just like words of foolishness that should not be answered, basically.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people will like come to the Rebbe, Lubavitch Rebbe, try to like say like, why does Chabad do this? Why does Chabad do that? There's like one specific video so Chabad has a custom where they do not sleep in the sukkah. The Jewish people, for those watching, you probably every once a year the Jewish people are commanded to like make these temporary like hut houses outside their house with like leaf roofs and hang out in them, live in them for 7 days. So the main law is to eat in them, but a lot of people also sleep in them because like these huts are supposed to be a replacement for your own house. But Chabad has all these Kabbalistic reasons why they do not sleep in the sukkah, while all the other Jewish groups do. So, but they do eat in the sukkah, and eating is also like living. So there's this one guy, there's like a video, this guy came to the Rebbe a long time ago, he was like saying, like trying to make this argument, like, why does Chabad like not sleep in the sukkah? And he wasn't like asking as a question, he was just like making these accusations. And the Rebbe like was like, used this very sharp language, saying like, I'm not gonna like answer you in detail because like I'm not supposed to answer a fool according to his foolishness, basically. But he did reference like the laws and that there's legitimate sources that go back a long time for it. But anyway, it was just pretty intense. But yeah, you have one bar. I'm not sure if you're still there or not, but whatever. At least hopefully someone's listening.
Yeah, I'm here. I hear you.
That's all good. It's all good. Cool. Yeah, so very, very relevant law for TikTok. The story of Moshe with Zimri. Moshe did not answer Zimri at all. It was like, why are you blaming us for marrying this Midianite woman? You yourself married one, but Moshe's wife converted, and theirs didn't. But Moshe didn't even need to say that, because some things are like so ridiculous. Women, you yourself married one, but Moshe's wife converted, and theirs didn't. But Moshe didn't even need to say that, because some things are like so ridiculous, shouldn't even be entertained. It's like all these like pro-pally propaganda. They say the most ridiculous stuff that's ever been thought of in history. The best thing is just to ignore it. It's going to go away eventually. So for now, hopefully, let them talk to themselves, I guess. If they have legitimate questions, then that's different. But
it's very difficult to let it go. Awtsmoos. I'll be honest with you. It's very difficult to let that level of hate and propaganda that's being spewed on this app go, or on all of social media. Lots of hate on social media. And just level of hate and propaganda that's being spewed on this app go, or on all of social media. Lots of hate on social media in general. Um, I take it as a responsibility on myself to defend our people and our religion. But maybe I'm making myself a fool too. I don't know.
there's defense is one thing, but there's different kinds of defense. I mean, we can make defense. I mean, I guess maybe the best way is like defense in terms of like making your own content or your own videos, just explaining the truth, and then just explaining the truth, and automatically defense in terms of like making your own content or your own videos, just explaining the truth, and then just explaining the truth, then automatically the falsehood will go away. But when you start like arguing like point by point with people who are saying the most ridiculous stuff, like I mean, what is that even gonna do? I mean, just think about it. Like, they're never gonna, even though they probably deep down they probably know that they're wrong also, but like when you start arguing with them, then like maybe they think they're right. So I don't know. Like,
yeah, my intent of arguing is not necessarily more to show them that they're wrong, but it's more to feed a seed to the listeners on the live to do their own research or criticisms on whatever the topic is on. Yeah. It's more me speaking to the viewer than the actual panelist.
but if I mean, it could be good. But imagine what the viewer would think if like people are like arguing like and like yelling at each other back and forth. then they would think both sides are bad, which is not true, obviously. But I mean, yeah. Yeah, the best thing is just to increase it. If people have legitimate questions, I'm always open to having like respectful debates or discussions. But when it comes, but you could tell sometimes they ask a question. It's not really a question. It's like accusation kind of thing. Like, oh, what about this? What about that? I try to ignore those questions.
Oh, within the first 2 sentences, you can figure out whether that person's serious or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, brutal. Yeah. So main takeaway: do not answer a fool according to his foolishness, lest you also become equal to him. Basically, Book of Proverbs. And then the idea was already in the times of Moshe. I mean, like, these ideas are like ideas of the Creator, which always existed. Just like the later prophets were given like the formalized version, but the idea was still known before. Anyway, so yeah, this today's portion is all pretty intense. All about the land of Yisrael, all about Moshe. They're literally standing on the eastern side of the Jordan River after they already conquered the entire Jordan area at the time, and they were about to go in the land of Canaan to take it over. Which is after they already conquered the entire Jordan area at the time, and they were about to go in the land of Canaan to take it over. Which is essentially said earlier, but just to reiterate, when the Jewish people didn't always live in Israel. The point is that the Creator took it away from these evil Canaanite heathens and gave it to his faithful servant Abraham and his descendants forever, because of how good Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were. And essentially, when that happened, the Creator took it away from the Canaanites because of their evilness and because the Creator decided to, and he gave it to his good chosen people. So the point is that the point of our claim to Yisrael is not just like some historical thing, like, oh, we were there first, even though we obviously were. I mean, relative to the current conflict, people there now have absolute connection at all to the land. Only Jewish people obviously have the historical connection. But saying even according to the false propaganda they may say when they make up, they say, oh, these guys like go all the way back to the Canaanites, which is like the most ridiculous claim I've ever heard. But even according to them, the Torah tells us very clearly that the Creator took the land away from the Canaanites forever, because the Creator owns all the land, and the only way humans are able to own land is under the ownership of the Creator. When the Creator decides that a nation should never have ownership of land anymore, then they have no more ownership of that land. And the Creator decided this land should always belong to the Jewish people. He took it away from the Canaanites, which was realized through the conquest in the times of Moshe's student Yehoshua, but it was promised to Abraham before. So this was like the Creator, through Yehoshua and through these miracles, open miracles that happened, undeniable miracles, the Creator took it away from the Canaanites forever, and gave it forever to the Jewish people. So this is right before this is happening, when Moshe is standing on the eastern side of the Jordan River with all the Jewish people in the Jordan area, about to go into Canaan to conquer it forever. Moshe is saying, when you beget children and children's children, and you shall have remained long in the land, and maybe saying, okay, if you live in the land for a long time, maybe bad things could happen. Who knows? It's the future. So Moshe is saying, oh, maybe you would corrupt yourselves, God forbid, and maybe later you'll start worshiping idols, and maybe bad things could happen. Who knows? It's the future. So Moshe is saying, oh, maybe you would corrupt yourselves, God forbid, and maybe later you'll start worshiping idols and making graven images or the likeness of anything, and then by doing that, that's evil in the eyes of Awtsmoos Yolekim, because we're not supposed to worship idols. But it says, interesting though, that the Hebrew word for corrupt yourselves, Venishan Tem, is the numerical value 852, which was the amount of years later where the Jewish people would start worshiping idols. But really, I forgot all the details. I mean, I did learn all the details, but the point is that Rashi says that after only 850 years, the Creator caused them to be driven from the land early, because if they would have stayed for the additional 2 years to make up the numerical value of 852, then this verse would have happened to them, which says, I call heavens and earth witness upon you again to say that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land where you go. But this is only if Rashi says this would have only been if they would have worshipped idols for an additional 2 years. But the Creator kicked them out early after 850 years in order to make sure that they would not perish forever. This is what Rashi says.
Is this is this a statement directly for the Jewish people?
Yeah, this is Jewish people going into the land of Yisrael at the time.
Okay, so it's not like a declaration that's made for the world as a whole. Sort of, I'm thinking you get what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like the Noah agreement,
right?
You know,
I mean, not, in the simple meaning, not really, but I mean, in a deeper sense, like all the words of the Torah are relevant. For example, like the earlier verse, one of the most relevant verses was when Moshe was saying to Jewish people, okay, your ancestor, he's talking to the children that left Egypt, who were children then, and now they're adults, but their parents are the ones who kind of rebelled against the Creator, and they said, oh, like when the spies came back from the land, and the spies said, oh, the Canaanites are so strong, they're stronger than the Creator himself, even the Creator can't bring us to the land. Then all the parents of that time, they were all crying and saying, oh no, why is the Creator torturing us, trying to bring us to this land? So because of that, then it's like they all had to pass away. But Moshe told the children, oh, but you who cling to the Creator are all alive today. So, I mean, in the simple sense, he's just saying the facts. Like, okay, you guys are the children that are alive today. But, it's a deeper sense, which is relevant. It's like anyone who cleaves to the Creator is always alive today. So, these verses are also relevant. Like, we could also learn, they're also generally relevant. Like, idols are bad. Idol worship is bad. And it can have bad effects. But in the simple meaning, he's telling the Jewish people what would happen to them in the land. He's saying, yeah, basically. So, this is like what Rashi says that this verse would have happened if the Jewish people would have kept on worshiping idols for an additional 2 years, but the Creator punished them early so that this does not happen. Anyway, the point is that if they worship idols, then which they did later, then it says the Awtsmoos will scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathens. Which is like the idolaters throughout the world, where the Awtsmoos lead you. So not only will they be scattered from Israel, but even the places where they'll be scattered to, they'll be few in number. When they're all together, then they're a big number. But when they're scattered, then they're each place they go to is few in number. But then we don't focus on the bad. And then it says when they're scattered to the non-Jewish nations by being servants or slaves or paying taxes to idolatrous nations, then it's as if they're worshiping false gods, because they're serving the idolaters, and the idolaters are serving false gods. So it's by extension, it would be as if the Jewish people are worshiping false gods. There you shall serve the false gods, is what the word means. The work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear, nor eat nor smell. Rashi says this means that when the Jewish people are scattered and live in the idolatrous lands, then it's through being servants to them, generally through taxes or other kinds of servitude, then it's they're serving the people who serve idols. So it's as if they're serving idols, basically. But then it says, but if from there you shall seek the Awtsmoos, your Elohim. You shall seek Hashem from that place you're exiled to. You shall find him. If you will seek him with all of your heart and with all your soul. And this verse is also, we said, it's also relevant.
It's interesting how Elohim or Elohim is referring to gods in plural. As you
Yeah.
mentioned, yeah, whether false or true. That's interesting. How I always thought Elohim stood for Hashem himself.
Yeah, well, when we talk about Elohim, it says in the Shulchan Aruch, it says whenever someone mentions different names of the Creator, they actually, during prayers, they actually are supposed to have different intentions of what those names mean when they say it. So it says when someone then mentions the four-letter name of the Creator, they should realize that the etymology of that name means Haya, which is was, Hoive is, V'yihya, and it will be, as one. So the four-letter name of the Creator is like the infinite aspect where was, is, and will be is all one. And it's also the same language as mehave, as that which constantly creates the universe. So it's like that which is beyond, that which is such beyond the world, such that the past, present, future is all one. That level of, it's like an infinite level that's creating the world from an infinite sense. That's what someone should think when they think of the four-letter name. It says when someone says the name Elohim in prayers, they should think that he's the master of all of the powers of the world. In English, we would call that Almighty. So the reason why Elohim is plural in Hebrew is because he's the Almighty One of all the powers that one might think exist in the world on their own. All those perceived powers are from the same source of the Creator. So Elohim, it's plural. It means powers. Literally, is a literal translation. Powers, but it means like the same Creator has all of those powers included within himself. The Almighty One. That's what someone should think when they say the name Elohim. Basically, it's like the combination of all the powers into one source, as opposed to the first name, which is not even the combination of powers. It's just the infinity that's beyond the world. But the name Elohim is like the infinity that's from the composition of all the powers of the world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's really all about intent. You're saying.
Yeah, his intent.
Word. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, Elohim is plural, but it means different stuff. For when it comes to false gods, it means like plural perceived powers, which are not actually real. But then when it comes to when it's actually used as the name for the Creator, it means the Creator who's the Almighty, meaning Almighty. I mean, it's kind of hard to. I mean, people. It's kind of misunderstood translation. What does Almighty actually mean? I used to think Almighty means okay. The Creator is like Almighty, meaning like he could do anything he wants. But Almighty in Hebrew means that all of the possible mights that exist in any context are all from the same Creator. Meaning Almighty means that all of the mights, all might that could ever exist anywhere, is from the same Creator. That's what Almighty means, and that's Elohim is Almighty, basically.
So, would you agree that through the Torah, God is also acknowledging other gods, which have their own? That through the Torah, God is also acknowledging other gods, which have their own powers.
No, so the term other gods, do not worship other gods. Rashi says in the Ten Commandments two explanations, which exclude that thought completely. First explanation is that there are other. Rashi says in the Ten Commandments two explanations, which exclude. They're other to the people who worship them. Meaning, like, if people worship them, they think that they're a power, but they just become like something that's other. Like they turn. It's like as if someone like turns their head the other way. Like these people put their trust in them, but they're other. They're other to the people that worship them. Not that they're other gods, but they become a level of other. The word other could be like acherim, like achor, like turning your back to something. So it's like they're other in the sense that they become like a stranger to those who worship them because they're not real. That's what Rashi says. There's a second explanation also. This is eluding me at the moment, but that was the main point. It doesn't mean that there's other powers. It means that there's perceived powers that when people start worshiping them, then they become other. They become a stranger to the ones who worship them. So they're nothing, basically. That's what Rashi says other gods mean.
I understand. Sort of like giving a perceived energy additional attention or power, even though it's from the same source. Would you say that? Source meaning Elohim, Hashem himself. No?
Are you referring to what?
I'm referring to like those who practice idolatry, as an example.
Right. Yeah, idolatry. Yeah, so idolatry is to like think that there's other powers in the world besides for the Creator. To think that there's other things directing the world. Basically, brief summary. The Lubavitch Rebbe explains based on like the Rambam and other places, like what is like the minimal definition of idolatry. Idolatry could mean like thinking that there's no one Creator, but only other gods. But idolatry could also mean acknowledging that there's one creator, but to mistakenly think that after the creator made the world and all the laws of nature, to think that the creator just let the world go, and to think that the creator abandoned the world into the hands of the laws of nature and the forces of nature. And even if one acknowledges that the creator occasionally gets involved for miracles, but if they think that during the rest of the time when the creator is not doing miracles, that really the world is being run through other forces, that is like considered idolatry. To think that the creator abandoned the world and let it go on autopilot, even if they acknowledge that the creator set up the world. Because the reality is that the creator not only created the world, but he directs everything in the world. Every leaf that blows is being directed directly from the creator, basically.
What would you say then? Of course, you're not speaking for Hashem, but what would you say to a yid today? Not necessarily an Orthodox one, or maybe just a yid. Let's call it that in general. For them to have some comfort in to the current global climate that we're in, and as to how God is paying attention to the situation or not. Meaning, because there are many that are unsure about the current climate at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we know definitely that the creator directs everything that happens in the world. It says every blade of grass that grows, every leaf that blows in the wind, is the creator directly causing it, not just allowing it, but like actually causing it. So we don't always know why the creator does certain things. Certain things are very much perceived very much as bad, and there's almost no way people could even imagine, like, how could this be, like, what would be the point of this. Some things are just like so far beyond our understanding that they appear to be total bad, and for those things we have to cry out to the creator to like say, why would you make this? In fact, the prophet himself, Ecclesiastes, whatever that means, in the book of Koheles, we actually just read that the Jewish people just commemorated the day, the ninth day of Av, where the Jewish temples, both Jewish temples in Jerusalem, were destroyed on the same day, the ninth day of the 11th month, which is the 9/11 of the Jewish calendar. And those days that the temple was destroyed, especially the second temple, was considered like the worst catastrophe that has ever happened in history, and that will ever happen, I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's my own interpretation, because I think, but it's like extremely bad. It says millions. I think there was, not sure how many people were slaughtered. I think there was millions of people who were slaughtered. Pretty sure. There was like the Roman siege lasted for a year, and the Jewish people like had no food, and it says like at the end, it was like mothers were forced to eat their own children, and like people had to like eat their own limbs because they were so dying of starvation. And there was blood flowing like rivers. It was like the worst catastrophe that's ever happened. And then the prophet in Ecclesiastes is talking about this. And he says, he starts out the whole book saying, why? Eicha, or how? Like how or why? Like how could this happen? Like why could this happen? Like, even though he's a prophet and he understands how everything comes from the creator and etc., but even him, he's like still crying out to the creator, like how could there ever be any good that could come from this? Like why? Just why? So sometimes we have to cry out why. Even if we know it comes from the creator, but some things are just so beyond our understanding. We have to ask the creator, why? Why are you doing this? And some things are beyond our understanding. But we do know definitely that everything is from the creator ultimately. We just don't always know why. But some things are beyond our understanding. But we do know definitely that everything is from the creator ultimately. We just don't always know why. But we ask the creator why, and hopefully the creator will make it all eventually good in a way that we can understand. That's the goal. But yeah, we know everything comes from the creator. We don't know why the creator does everything, basically, in short.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so this verse in Deuteronomy is also quoted a lot. So like all these verses that Moshe is saying, the simple meaning is he's only talking about the Jewish people entering the land, but they're also eternally relevant. At least for all Jews, and also all people in general. It says if someone is like exiled, like in the world, in their own exile, their own personal exile, maybe they think they're so far gone for the creator, like what could they ever possibly do? But it says, no, if you seek from there, the creator, then you shall find him. If you seek, you will find. So, and then if you seek him with all your heart and all your soul. This verse is quoted a lot in like Jewish spiritual books, saying you always got to seek the creator, no matter what situation we're in. seeking the Creator can only bring goodness. And if you seek Him with all your heart and your soul, then you'll find Him, basically. When you are in tribulation, and all these things would come upon you, even in the latter days, if you turn to Awtsmoos your Elohim, and shall be obedient to His voice, it says, then it'll be good. Because Awtsmoos Elohim is a merciful God. He will not forsake you, neither will He destroy you, nor will He forget the covenant of your fathers, which He swore to them. This is all these like non-Jews, they all this propaganda like, oh, you Jews were kicked out of your land, so you're all forsaken. No, dude, it says in the same Torah, it's the same Torah that says we were kicked out. It says the Creator will never forsake the Jewish people, even if they're in the land of their enemies. The Creator will always remember this covenant that He made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is eternal, basically. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that Elohim created man upon the earth, and ask from one side of the heaven to the other, meaning you could ask across the whole world, whether has there ever been such a thing as this great thing, or has there been anything heard like it? Moshe is talking about when the Creator took the Jewish people out of Egypt through all these miracles and then revealed Himself in Mount Sinai. Moshe is saying, we think about like all these biblical events happening like at the same time, but even in the times of Moshe, which was 2,488 years after creation, they still knew about. Adam was still like ancient history at that time. So think about throughout all the days that the universe has existed, all these 2,488 years that the universe has been around since the Creator made man. Has there ever been anything like these events that you've experienced directly? It says, did ever in history have people ever heard the voice of the Creator speaking to them out of this miraculous fire at Mount Sinai, like you heard? And did they live? The Creator revealed Himself in Mount Sinai through this fire and clouds to millions of witnesses. Or has Elohim, has the Creator ever gone to take a nation from another nation? When the Jewish people were slaves in Egypt, the Creator Himself made these miracles. And the Creator Himself took them out of Egypt by signs and I'm not sure if this translation is so accurate, but He took the Jewish people out of Egypt by signs, wonders, war, and a mighty hand, and with an outstretched arm, which are different metaphors for the power of the Creator and the miracles, and by great terrors of like the great miracles that happened to the Jewish people and the great plagues against the Egyptians. According to all that Awtsmoos your Elohim did for you in Egypt before your eyes, Moshe is saying, like, the universe has existed so long. 2,488 years is a long time. And never before in history has there been an exodus like this. And even to this day, thousands of years later, this is like, this, besides for the Messiah coming, this is like the second greatest event that has ever happened. This stuff about the Exodus, etc. When the Messiah comes, it's going to be even greater than that. But it's saying, this idea of the Exodus is like pretty far up there in terms of all world events that have ever happened. To you it was shown, shewed, apparently is it. I found out this is a real English word, shewed. I guess it's used in some Bibles that AI, apparently is it. I found out this is a real English word, shewed. I guess it's used in some Bibles that AI was used to translating. To you it was shown that you might know, meaning like the Creator showed you all this stuff in order that you should know that the Awtsmoos is Elohim, meaning like in Hebrew, Havaya, the four-letter name of the Creator, is Elohim. Havaya, which is that which is infinitely beyond the world, which is past, present, and future at the same time, like beyond the world. It is the same as Elohim, which is the name Elohim, again, is the Almighty One, which is like how the Creator includes within Him all the powers of the world. So the point is that every part of the world is united with the infinity of the Creator. There is the simple translation is Ein Od. There is none other besides for Him, meaning like there's no other deity besides for Him. But the deeper meaning means there is none other. It also means that there is nothing else. Not only is there no other deity than the Creator, but there's no other existence than the Creator. Meaning like, because the infinity of the Creator is one with Elohim, which includes within it like the finite powers of the world, so there's no other matter. There's no finite independent existence. The Creator, Havaya, which is the infinity of the aspect of the Creator, is literally the same as the finite aspect of the Creator, which is united with the world. So all the world, everything, is literally one with the Creator. There's not only is there no other deity, there's literally no other existence other than the Creator Himself. It says, out of the heaven He made you hear His voice, such that He might instruct you. And upon the earth He showed you this great fire that was hovering over the mountain. And you heard His words out of the fire. Basically, heaven and earth. And because he loved your fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he chose their seed after them and brought you out of Egypt in his sight with his mighty power out of Egypt. So this is all. These brought you out of Egypt in his sight with his mighty power out of Egypt. So this is all. These verses are all pretty intense stuff, and they're eternally relevant. So, and the Creator did all this. So the whole book of Deuteronomy is literally like a prep for taking the land of Yisrael under the promise of the Creator. It's all about the land of Israel, like literally the entire book of Deuteronomy, all about inheriting the land of Israel, how the land of Israel will forever belong to the Jewish people. That's pretty much like the main idea of what the entire book is about. It says the Creator did all this in order to drive out all these Canaanite nations from before you. And these nations are greater and mightier than you are. But still, the Creator will drive them away from you. And he will bring you in, and he will give you their land as an inheritance, as it will always be. The land of Israel do not always belong to... Again, this is like the main point people can say, like, oh, the claim we have to the land of Israel is not, even though it's also true that it's historical. The main claim is that the Creator the Creator himself drove away these other nations that were there, and the Creator took it away from them and gave it to us eternally in a way that's beyond time. Know therefore this day, and take it to your heart, that the Awtsmoos, he is Elohim, which is like the two aspects of the infinity and the finite of the Creator, in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is nothing else. Meaning, either two explanations. There is none else. There's no other deity. But really, the deeper meaning is there's no other existence. And the Alter Rebbe explains when it says there's none else, meaning is that you might think that, okay, the Creator is the driving force of the world. Maybe you could say the Creator like directs the entire world, just like a soul directs the body. So the body is like secondary to the soul, and the soul is the main thing that's directing the body. So you might think, okay, the soul is the main thing, but the body is like something else that the soul is directing. So you might think, okay, maybe the Creator is like the main part of the world, he's the main driving force, but the world is still existing as an existence of something else. It's like the world could still exist, it's just that its existence is secondary to the Creator. But no, when it says there is nothing else, it means that there's not even the concept of an else. Meaning there's not even the concept of a secondary existence that's subservient to the Creator, because the world itself is not only is like there's no other Creator, but it's like even the world itself is not even like an existence of being secondary. The entire world, like there's no other Creator, but it's like even the world itself is not even like an existence of being secondary. The entire world is literally united with the Creator himself. There is literally nothing else at all. Not only is there nothing, there's like not even the concept of else, not even the concept of something secondary, because everything is united with the Creator, like a ray of light absorbed in the sun itself. And by the way, this earlier verse, when it says, "You have been shown to know," right here, to you it was shown. In Hebrew, it says, "Ata hares ladas." You have been shown to know that Hashem is Elohim in the heavens and above and the earth below. There is nothing else. No. Ata hares ladas. Right. I guess I'm not sure exactly how this translation got around. But the point is that the word "you have been shown to know," the Alter Rebbe explains that the simple meaning is that the Jewish people have been shown by the Creator. In order that the Jewish people have been shown all these miracles and stuff, including Mount Sinai revelation and everything, in order that they should know that the Creator is like one. But another meaning where it says, "Ata hares ladas," you have been shown to know, means like Moshe was talking to the Creator. It says, you, the Creator, have shown yourself in order that it should be known that you are... so that the term "you" could refer to the Jewish people being shown by the Creator, but really the meaning could mean that the "you," meaning Moshe saying to the Creator, "You show yourself to us in order to effect in us a knowledge and a deeper connection to you," basically. Then the last verse of today's reading says, "You shall keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command you this day, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days upon the earth, which the Awtsmoos, your Elohim, gives you forever." That's the conclusion of today's reading of the Chumash. Pretty intense stuff, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for this it's interesting. I mean, the Torah says in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Right now, the earth. I'm assuming it's like Adama, right? The actual dirt on the ground, or the soil. Would you say that God also created the heavens, like the solar systems? How does that? This may be such a dumb question, but I keep seeing a lot of these passages mention Elohim and Earth. Are we talking about Earth as in this planet, or Earth as in Adama?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, so the Creator made everything, heavens and earth. So before, and not only that, but the universe, according to the Torah, right now is 5,785 years old and 11 months and 10 days as of now. According to the Torah, right now is 5,785 years old and 11 months and 10 days as of now. And before that time, there was nothing else at all. There was not even time. Even time itself is a new creation that was only made 5,000, etc. years ago. So before that, there was absolutely nothingness. Only the Creator himself. And the Creator himself was not in a state of existence in the way that we could perceive existence. He's a true existence. It's all-encompassing. But he wasn't in any kind of existence that could be grasped. It was only the Creator in an infinite sense, and not in a way that could be like a grasp as existence. Then it's explained like Kabbalah. So then the Creator decided to so the Creator, it says it in the Midrash, before the creation of the world there was only the Creator and his name only. The name is like the potential the Creator has to make the world, which is not like a separate thing. It's just like it's a potential that the same Creator has. Then there's the whole thing in the Kabbalah that says when he made the world, like this light of the Creator, like this potential, which is also called infinite light, or in Sof in a certain way, was like, so to speak, shining. It's metaphorically shining everywhere in such a way that there's like only infinity, and there was no possibility for the finite. Then the Creator had to hide the potential that he had for infinity in order to reveal the potential for finite, and that's called the tzimtzum, or the contraction, which means that he completely hid the potential that he has in the infinite to make room such that the potential that he has for the finite would be recognizable. And then through that, he created a finite light, or metaphorical light, which is like a power that's like a finite power that he used to create the world. Essentially, the same Creator has potential in infinite and potential in finite. If one says that the Creator is only infinite and not also has a potential finite, then one would be lacking in the completeness of the Creator. So first, this idea of potential of infinite and finite was like the same thing, and it was not recognizable as anything else. Then when the Creator desired to make a world, because the Creator wanted to have a dwelling place in the world, it says the Creator, so to speak, hid the aspect of the infinite potential such that only the finite potential will be recognizable. And that's when it says, in the verse, it says, of the infinite potential, such that only the finite potential will be recognizable. And that's when it says, in the verse, it says, let there be light, and there was light, which is kind of weird, because all the other statements in the creation, it says, let there be so-and-so, whatever. And then it says, and it was so. It doesn't repeat the thing. It just says, let there be like whatever, dry land or something, or let there be animals, and it was so, and it was so. But by the light, it doesn't say and it was so. It says, it's weird. It says let there be light, and there was light. So really, the Kabbalah says it's a source that there's really two aspects of light, which also refers to the potential of creation. So when it says and there was light, it means that there was already light before creation. But then when it says let there be light, that refers to the finite light, or the finite potential to create the world, which is a second, so to speak, light, or it became a second light after the Creator made it. If that kind of makes sense, maybe. Hypothetically.
Yeah, I feel like I am not mature enough to understand
maybe I'm not, or maybe I'm not explaining it.
No. It's not you. I mean, I've always had trouble understanding. So
it should be understood, though. Maybe I'm just not explaining it correctly. Ideally.
No.
Theoretically,
I appreciate you.
It should be understood, though. Maybe I'm just not explaining it correctly. Ideally.
No.
Theoretically,
I appreciate you sharing the Dvar Torah. So thank you.
Sure. Any more questions? But you could always ask any. Yeah, I mean, I could try to elaborate if you have any questions. It's hard to give answers without questions. You know.
Yeah, it's really not you. It's me. I'm a product of Orthodox parents, but have lived my life somewhat secular. So trying to get my bearings together and go back into the religion slowly, carefully. You know, introducing my children into it as well. So I'm tiptoeing.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good to put on, to fill in and do some basic mitzvahs. The Lubavitcher Rebbe would always encourage Jews everywhere just to put on to fill in, even if they don't do anything else. So it's
I
always good.
met the Rebbe 3 times already.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
When's the last time you met him?
This was in the '90s, I think. Sometime there.
That's cool. For a dollar.
Yeah. I have no idea what I did with that money. I have no idea.
Somewhere in the economy,
Somewhere,
circulating.
Yeah. Someone's holding that bracha, I'm sure.
That's cool. And they were given. I mean, they were technically given for people to give away to charity. People usually just keep them as like a loophole, but I mean, technically, he gave them to give away. Technically, but yeah. So it's all good.
Yeah, I was just a kid,
Yeah.
waiting in line for the Rebbe. That's pretty much what it was. I didn't see it as more than. Unfortunately, my maturity wasn't there. I didn't see it for more than what it was. It was just it wasn't necessarily tzedakah or to give to tzedakah. It's more of like a, hey, look, here's a way of getting money. Back then when I was younger.
Free money.
Yeah.
Yeah, $1 was like $10 then, right? Or like $20 or something.
Back then, I would equate it to possibly $10
Nice.
today. Yeah.
That's cool.
Thank you, though. I don't have any other questions, but I'll keep hopping.
Sure,
on.
no questions.
I see you
There's always questions.
Yeah, I mean, well.
Or are there?
Well. This is more of a question on what is a follower to Elohim, to Hashem?
What does it mean to follow the?
Follower, like a devout follower, one that follows all 613 commandments, one that follows the top 10 that we focus on, the 10 commandments.
I think someone asked the Rebbe a similar question. It's like, who's considered like a chassid, like a devout follower? I mean, he asked of the Rebbe, but I mean, a similar idea could be extrapolated to the Rebbe said someone's a chassid if today they try to do a little bit better than they did yesterday. The point is which direction we're moving, even if it's just a little bit. If we're moving in the right direction, that's all. That's what matters. It's not about the physical quantity of what's being done. It's about the direction we're going. Because someone could be at the top of the ladder and be moving down, and even if they have more quantity than other people, but they're still on a lesser level than someone who's at the bottom of the ladder and they're starting to move up. So the point is the direction that we're moving. It's not about the actual quantity. It's the effort and the direction.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just in terms of level of Judaism, my level currently is at the lower bracket. Judaism, my level currently is at the lower bracket.
As long as
looking forward to taking it more seriously than I did.
Yeah, as long as one's in the direction of up, that's the main thing, the effort and the direction, as they say.
Thank you,
Hashem only demands. Hashem, I'm not a rabbi, as far as I know. I look like a rabbi.
I appreciate it, though.
All right, nice. Yeah, it's been good. It's good, pretty powerful verses.
Wait, how often do you come on?
I don't know. Depends on the day.
Oh, okay.
Once in a Jew moon. Sometimes every day, sometimes not every day. I don't know. It depends. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, good stuff.
Do you have any questions?
Do I have any questions?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
For someone with a pea brain like mine?
I don't know. Do you have any questions that you want me to ask?
That's a good question.
I know. I only ask good questions.
Yeah, it's just it was more about, you know, I don't, do I keep the Ten Commandments? I don't keep Shabbat. I want to. But,
Who does, you know?
Yeah, but you know, do I watch TV on Shabbat? Yes. Do I do all the things that are considered to be not keeping the Shabbat holy? Yes. Such as
There's also people that keep Shabbat, but they also like speak about like matters that are like secular matters. Like there's so many laws of Shabbat. I mean, it's debatable if anyone, maybe like a few people in the world, but people who like so to speak call themselves religious. But there's so many things in Shabbat, like laws of muksa, even just like moving something that they're not supposed to, they don't need, or talking about idle matters. Like there's so many things. Probably no one like actually keeps all of it. Yeah, anyway, maybe some people. It's about
depending
our effort.
on the degree of orthodoxy, you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is to focus on what we can do. It's not good to focus on like things we don't. But just listen one little good thing at a time. I mean, you think it like even people who call themselves Shabbos observant. There's so many laws of the Sabbath. It says that it's very hard to actually accurately follow. I mean, there's this famous statement that says if the Jewish people would only keep 2 Sabbaths in all of history, then Mashiach would come. But every Sabbath, I mean, the simple meaning is like, oh, every Sabbath there's so many laws that even if they try to keep it, there's like too much. The main thing is just focus on what we can do, you know, not about what we can. But yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Mainly for in terms of like keeping the Shabbat, it's not just me. I have to like bring in my wife into it, have her light the candles. Yeah, it's a lot more than that. I'm not saying she's opposed to it. She's not, but it's a concerted effort. It's something that all of us have to try to not, but it's a concerted effort. It's something that all of us have to try to honor.
Yeah, I mean, once you get into it, you could realize like the holiness. You could start feeling the holiness of the Shabbat. You know, I mean, the Shabbat's all about like the concept that we say like it doesn't. I mean, in simple meaning, it's hard to really understand. We say, oh, the Creator made the world in 6 days, and He rested on the 7th. Like, oh yeah, He was so tired after making the world, He had to rest. Like the entire creation, besides for the fact that it's being constantly created, does not require any effort at all. The Creator is infinite. So everything that exists, all the heavens and earth, it's absolutely effortless. So what does it mean when it says He rested on the 7th? He obviously did not rest because He was tired. On the 7th day, He created the concept of rest. And it says when someone is working on something, whatever it is, then it's like they're limiting themselves to that thing. They're putting all their focus into their tasks that they're doing, so to speak. And it's like their mind and their heart is, so to speak, going like limited into the thing they're making. So obviously when it comes to the Creator doesn't have any kind of human qualities at all, so we can't say that the Creator is like limited to anything, but it's like relative to how the Creator makes the world, He chooses to interact with it in a finite way, even though the Creator Himself is beyond anything like that. So when the Creator makes the world, so to speak, He takes like a limited energy, and that energy that He makes He causes it to be limited to the finite constraints of the world during the act of creation. And when we say creation, according to Chabad and the Torah in general, the Creator is constantly creating the world every second through words of creation, even on the Sabbath. But the difference is that during the rest of the week, He's creating the world, because if He would stop creating the world even for a second, then it says that all of existence would instantly cease to exist. So what's the difference between the Sabbath, which is the day of the resting from creation, and the rest of creation, and the rest of the days of the week? So during the rest of the days of the week, he's creating the world in a more direct, limited way, where he's taking the light, his light, and so to speak, limiting it down to the finite constraints of every individual creation. That's work. That's what work means. Work means like the finite constraints of every individual creation. That's work. That's what work means. Work means like when someone is like invested in their mind and heart in something, like they're limiting themselves to that. So the creator, relatively speaking, is like he's taking this light of himself and he's only revealing to the world a limited light that is only necessary for the finite nature of everything, and that's vested into and like vested within the finite constraints. But the Sabbath is rest. When someone rests, like when they stop working, then it's like they just, so to speak, enjoy themselves. They go back into themselves, and they're not limited to anything else. So like on the Sabbath day, all this energy of the Creator that was like limited to like found in exile throughout all the finite aspects of the world, and so to speak, it goes back to its source, which is like the more infinite aspect of the Creator's light, which is the idea of rest, going back to the source. And then through that going back to the source, the world is still being created, because if it would not be created, they would cease to exist. But as it's being created, all of creation is like collectively going back to the source, in a sense that the creation that's happening is from a higher level. In other words, it says that during the week, it says the Creator is making the world through letters of speech. And through speech, when someone says something, then it's like that idea is like more limited into like the words of speech, as opposed to if someone thinks something, the thoughts someone has, a thought is more connected to oneself and is more like unlimited, more limitless than a speech. When someone says something, those words are like can't be changed, so to speak. But if someone thinks, like a thought is like more like loose, it's more like infinite. So during the rest of the week, it says he's creating the world through words of speech. But during the Sabbath, it's like more like loose, it's more like infinite. So during the rest of the week, it says he's creating the world through words of speech. But during the Sabbath, he's creating the world through words of thought, or words of meditation, basically. So the whole world, because of that, all the worlds are like on a higher level of existence, basically.
Would you say that Shabbat is like not necessarily rest, but more of reflection?
I wouldn't say either, actually, because we say it's a day of rest, but what is rest? Rest in this case is really just a higher level of work. It says I wouldn't say either, actually, because we say it's a day of rest, but what is rest? Rest in this case is really just a higher level of work. It says in the terminology in the Talmud, it says on Sabbath there's 40 things we're not supposed to do minus one. It says it could have said just 39. But I mean, then there's a simple reason why it says it for the Talmudic reason, but a deeper reason why it says 40 things minus one, because it says there's 40 things we're not supposed to do, but there is one thing that we are supposed to do, which is meaning that there's 40 forms of work that are not allowed, but there's minus one, meaning there's one form of work that we are supposed to do, which is the work of the heavens. Meaning the Sabbath we stay away from the work of the earth, and we focus on the work of heavens, which is the work of like going to shul, davening with a lot of concentration, listening to the Torah. It's hard work, but it's a higher level of work. It's beyond the world. It's work that's beyond the world. Work that's in a state of rest relative to the world, basically.
So like by heavens, you're referring to like spiritual.
Spiritual, yeah, metaphorically, yeah. The work of heaven, meaning like the work of like of praying, and when someone prays, like they have to have all kinds of contemplation of the greatness of the Creator to return their soul back to the source. So it's very hard work. It's just the work is on a higher level. It's work for the in the heavens, like work, like elevating oneself to the heavens and with all the spiritual stuff. It's spiritual work, which could be harder than physical work. In the heavens, like work, like elevating oneself to the heavens and with all the spiritual stuff. It's spiritual work, which could be harder than physical work.
Pray outside of Shabbat, right? Is that
what?
Am I understanding that wrong? You don't necessarily have to pray outside of Shabbat.
So there's an obligation in the Torah that says you shall serve Hashem with all of your heart, which the Talmud says is the biblical source for the obligation to pray at least one time per day, every day. Since the time of the destruction of the Holy Temple, the rabbis instituted 3 times prayer every day to correspond to the temple service, because in the morning they would offer 1 lamb as a sacrifice in the morning, and 1 in the afternoon, and then in the evening time they would still let the fats of the animal burn, and they would still like do a bunch of stuff in the evening. So corresponding to those three things, the rabbis instituted 3 set times a day to pray to the Creator, in order to, like, so to speak, be a replacement for those temple services which affect peace in the world and all kinds of blessings, and elevating oneself to the Creator, just like the animal sacrifices were elevated to the Creator. One elevates oneself. But the main obligation, according to the Torah obligation, is to pray at least once a day. According to the rabbinical laws, which are also important to keep, it's 3 times minimum every day. But according to the Torah obligation, it's at least once a day.
And why is it at least once a day? Like, and also, like, which portion would that be appropriate for? You're like, for example, Shabbat or Mincha, or it doesn't matter, just as long as you pray at least once a day, have that connected.
Well, again, so first of all, it's important to listen to the instructions of the rabbis, because the same Torah that tells us the scriptural things also says to listen to these decrees of the rabbis, and the rabbis made the decree of 3 times, so it is important to do 3 times if someone could. But it's like, as an absolute minimum, I don't think there's a specific. If someone had to choose, I don't think there's. I think during the daytime hours, because the nighttime is considered like a scripture. Like, from a technical point of view, it's considered optional, even though that option became later an obligation. But like, in terms of scriptural obligation, I'm pretty sure it's like sometime during the daylight hours. I'm not sure if it makes a difference whether morning or afternoon, if someone is just doing the scriptural obligation. Ideally, they should do the 3 times a day. I'm not saying they should, but saying if someone is just starting out, maybe at least once a day. I don't think it makes a difference. But they should a man should wear tefillin at least once a day and do like a little prayer. Like, for example, like during the time when they used to have prayer in public schools, and then they canceled it. I think it was like some Jews that actually complained about it. The Rebbe wrote a letter that said that the Creator himself influenced the minds of these lawmakers to try to get prayer in school once a day, just in order to give these kids the opportunity to do the basic scriptural obligation of praying 1 time per day in the schools. And then the Jews came along and said, "Oh no, we can't do it," and they took it away. So the point is that, like, the Creator, so to speak, was doing all this stuff. Oh wow, nice.
You're wearing it right now. You made a mitzvah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
You made a mitzvah. Thank you.
You just put it on right now while we're talking? Wow.
Yeah, while we're talking. Yeah.
Wow. Hashem. That's cool. Hi. Pretty cool stuff. Yes, nice. Nice. It's cool.
It's I'm trying on of course.
Yeah, it's all we can do, you know.
I tend to forget. I get lost in my daily grind, but yeah, just keep coming on these TikTok lives, man. I'll join you.
That's cool. Go tefillin. Yes, big deal. Yeah, I can understand, like, the growing up in Litvash, you know, it's kind of hard. I mean, I grew up not knowing anything about Judaism at all, and then discovered Chabad later. That's when we first discovered Judaism, was that. But yeah.
I'm a product of a Lubavitch education.
Oh, nice. Brutal.
and then you know, life took me in a different direction.
Right.
But,
yeah, I mean, it depends on the education. Some of the schools are not the best.
And then, you know, life took me in a different direction.
Right.
But,
yeah, I mean, it depends on the education. Some of the schools are not the best.
Yeah. And I'm trying. It's weird. Life changes once you have children of your own, and the way I see it is, you know, if the world's gonna hate you, you have to teach your children as to why they hate you. You know, understand your heritage, understand who you are.
Yeah.
Where you come from.
Yeah. So yeah, Baruch Hashem, the tefillin, it's a good, big deal. Baruch Hashem, very powerful blessings come through that.
I think the mitzvah is all yours, man. Thank you.
It's all Hashem's. I mean, it started, this whole campaign where the Rebbe told, like, every Jew to wear tefillin. It actually started during, like, the 6-day war, when he was telling the soldiers, like, in order to, like, be successful, you know, the Chabad rabbis, like, put tefillin on all the soldiers, and then they're able to win this war miraculously. So, I mean, nowadays we have this war now, so if every person, increases in it, hopefully it'll help win the war, you know.
I have a question for you. Like, when I put on tefillin, I usually just start from, like, Shema, and I end with I have a
secret
question for
weapon.
you. Like when I put on tefillin, I usually just start from like Shema and I end with Elohechem Emet, right? I mean, is that is that acceptable? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
that's the basic requirement. Yeah, I mean, they say the minimum is like the first two paragraphs. So yeah, the three is definitely, that's pretty much the main. And if you're able to say the Amida, that would be even better. But the main thing is Shema with the fill-in or your own personal prayer. The Amida is good too. One
For
day,
me, that
but
you need at least 10 men, right?
nope. You can every person can say the Amida. Ideally with a minion, but saying the obligation of saying the Amida 3 times a day is even if someone's just in their own house, even if they're lying in bed. I mean, ideally you should stand up, but if someone is not able to stand up, they could even do it sitting down, even if they're in a car. Yeah, basically, everyone could and should say it if you can. I mean, no pressure. Yeah, it's ideally with the minion also, but that's like, I mean, the obligation is still there of the prayer, and the main obligation is just to ask like the creator like what someone needs, and also like to connect with the creator. It could be someone's own personal prayer, but the rabbis. The reason why we have the Amida, the 18 blessings, which is really 19 now, but it's like because the rabbis, who wrote the Amida, were like a group of prophets that were able to determine what everyone truly wants. They were able to like know us more than we know ourselves, and they were able to like these blessings to ask for every possible thing that one could ever imagine. And the main focus of the Amida is actually asking for Mashiach, like throughout a lot of the Amida. It's literally just asking for the redemption, to bring back our prophets of old, to bring the Scion of David, which is the Messiah speedily, to bring back the Holy Temple. The rabbis and the prophets, the Amida was written by some prophets as well. It's not just rabbis, actual prophets. So these prophets and rabbis, they knew that every Jew really wants Mashiach, and they really want all the things that are mentioned in the Amida, like to blessing the years. It says blessing like the sustenance of the year, to healing the sick, giving us knowledge of the Creator, bringing us back in repentance, fighting our wars for us. All these things the prophets knew, giving us knowledge of the Creator, bringing us back in repentance, fighting our wars for us. All these things the prophets knew that every Jew really wants. And these prophets know us more than we know ourselves. So yeah, technically from a scriptural point of view, one could ask like just their own personal prayer, which is good too. But since when someone follows the order that these prophets and rabbis wrote, then it's like they're connecting to what they truly want that they themselves might not even know. But yeah.
Yeah, that's all
Basically.
very interesting.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's all
Basically.
very interesting. Thank you again, my brother.
Yes.
I appreciate your help there, and yeah, I'll continue looking out for you.
Cool. Looking out for each other. Yeah, I guess we learned some things. I mean, I try to take it to heart too, the not answering a fool according to his foolishness when it comes to especially TikTok nowadays, and like this the end of the exile. The Baba Rebbe said that Mashiach's coming like pretty much right away, immediately, like in this time now. Even though we've been saying it for thousands of years, but now that Jewish people have come to America, then like pretty much all the different parts of the world are infused with the Torah, and therefore it's time for the Mashiach to come. So in this time, this is Mashiach's coming like very soon. So especially as we get to the end, it gets harder. The closer we are, the harder it gets. But the harder it gets is a sign that it's closer. So that's good.
Yeah, not for the sake of being humble, but I'll sooner admit I'm a fool before I admit myself as a thumb, you know? Because there's a lot I don't know about a lot. That's fine.
Harsh. Yeah. No, in terms of like the words of arguments, it's just better. Yeah. I mean, I try to take it to heart. I also did it sometimes, but I try to take it to heart, like not to give in to like these like words of argumentation and stuff. Like there's so much falsehood. It's all gonna go away soon. But we could do our own part to just spread the truth and stuff. But when it comes to like arguing, only if it's constructive arguments, I try. I have to take it to heart myself. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to emulate the same. Thank you.
It's cool. Yes. Have a good day. Have a good
You
one.
too. I'm gonna start praying now, and yeah.
Nice.
I'll look out for your next
Kol
Devar Torah.
Kavod. All right, nice. Have a good one. Mashiach now.
Amen.
Basically.
Well, Tada.